Hope you're having a great Friday out there, everyone. And if you're not, don't worry. It's about to turn around because it's SPL time here at the Skillshot Studio in Alpharetta, Georgia. My name is Finch. I'm joined by Ryan Agro-Bailey right here with me on the desk. And we actually have two really good sets lined up here today. Yeah. You know, I feel like every SPL day, I say that because every SPL day it ends up being true.
It's just objectively true.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's not even your fault. There's nothing you can do about it. You're playing around it as best you can.
Yeah, all I can do really is just respond to what I'm given. And what I'm given is quality content. So I'm forced to talk about it at that point. Yeah. So we're going into the first match here. Going to be Rival versus Renegades. The one after that, we're going to be seeing Space Station play later. So to help you all out with that, here's the schedule. Yesterday, Rival trounced Space Station. I don't know any other way to say it. SK had some close games with Renegades, but just couldn't close them out.
Yeah, a lot of really long ones. I mean, a 66-minute game, I think it was, in game one of that set. So an impressive performance from SK despite the loss. I do think it's an encouraging loss.
And this is a big week for Rival because they're up at the top of the standings and want to maintain that first spot. Splice, despite how strong they're looking because of their slow start, are still at 6. Remember, these are cumulative standings across the entirety of Season 6. Obey and LG struggling. Now, the real reason why that 6th spot is so important is because, remember, the top 6 teams are getting that auto-qualify into Worlds. We've actually got this wonderful graphic they put together for us back there to help you all understand. First thing first is that 6 teams auto-qualified SWC. Then November 3rd through the 8th, we're having our placement week. From those placements, we're going to be getting 2 teams that are going to be making it into the World Championship that's happening at Hi-Rez Expo November 15th through the 17th.
And that week, the 3rd through the 8th of November, the very beginning of the month, I mean, it's the bottom 4 SPL teams, then only the top team in each region from the minor league.
Yeah,
so
we're only
those
getting 2.
games, you got to make sure you're winning those and make sure you're tuning in on Tuesdays to see who's going to be that participant, and then the top team from each of the console regions as well. So that placement week is going to be huge. That's going to be a lot of really good quality SMITE teams, and we're only getting 2 out of it. So you got to play really well, not only on the lead up, but once you get there as well.
Yeah, I believe it's double elimination for that as well. So that means we absolutely will be getting the best 2 teams that are going to be making it back up towards those top 6. And I think there's actually a pretty good chance that one of those SML teams might make it through as well. That's just how stacked I think right now the competition is, even down at the minor league level. But more in the present and the here and now. Rival going up against Renegades. And man, if I had an answer about what Rival's weaknesses were, I imagine I'd be getting coached somewhere because clearly the SPL needs some help against these guys. But I mean, Ryan, what's your take on why this team is so strong right now?
They're hard to predict. I think their picks and bans are difficult to lock down a lot of times. I mean, we haven't seen a whole lot of aggressive supports as of late. It's been a lot of Khepri and Geb and things like that. And then Mike yesterday pulls out Fenrir Bacchus, and it's a completely different look. But you know he still has those defensive guardians in the back pocket. I just think this team as a whole is really hard to pick and ban against. And then their actual play, their execution is second to none. They truly are an impressive team in this league right now. They do everything. Every part of the game is a strength for this squad. The only time we see them drop games, I think, is when they don't get a chance to execute their game plan. I do think that Arkkyl has dropped the ball a little bit at times in that long lane, given up a lot of solo kills, I feel like, but also has gotten his fair share of solo kills. So it's a little bit of a dynamic long lane, I'd say. And if I'm Funballer, I'm probably taking a matchup where I feel like I can make Arkkyl make a mistake.
It's so huge because Arkkyl does feel like he still likes to play a lot of hunters over there in that matchup. And Funballer's entirely different. We'll see Poseidon from him over there, Zhong. He'll play all kinds of these mages who not only are going to use that extra golden experience, I think, better, but have a pretty good, decent fight in lane as well and can oftentimes pressure out Arkkyl on those hunters that can take some time to get online. So that matchup is going to be huge for me. But I mean, Rival are just so good, it feels like, at reading the state of the game and picking their moments, knowing when they can take objectives, when you can't handle fights, when you've taken bad back timings. I mean, they're just so good at reading the state of the game that's going to make life really difficult, I think, for Renegades, despite how strong they've looked.
I agree. And the Renegades on the other side have also, they have a little bit of unpredictability, but they know, you kind of know what they're going to pick for the most part. You know they're going to want to put a hunter in the mid lane. When was the last time Dardez played anything but a hunter? Funballer is going to play something odd. We just don't know exactly what it is. They're going to prioritize iRaffer's pick early in the draft. They're going to save Nika for late in the draft. That's usually how they end up going. But it just doesn't matter because they play the map so well. They just never seem to make mistakes when it comes to how they play the map and how they play their mid 3v3. That's the strongest point, and I can't wait to see how they match up against Mike, PandaCat, and CaptainTwig today.
Yeah, that 3v3 is going to be huge. Remember, we haven't seen, since Renegades kind of rose up to be the top team, we haven't really seen them play Rival. Obviously, at MSI, they dropped off against Armada, so Renegades able to make the run without them, and then here in Phase 2, they haven't met just yet. So this match is huge for a lot of reasons, and because of how huge the match is, we had a chance to sit down and talk with Renegades, specifically with iRaffer, to see if this match had any extra importance for them, to see how the team was feeling, so now y'all get a chance to hear from iRaffer.
I'm not sure what the difference is between us and other teams with our success at MSI, because I think that all the other teams do have the synergy. It's like on the day, we turned, you know, we didn't troll, like that's the main thing. In scrims, it can go really, really rough because Dardez will go, oh, okay, I run down mid, I die, it's fine. It's like, in the SPL, he won't do this. So I feel like the team kind of knows that and we're confident in each other, I'd say. So our strengths, compared to other teams, is we know how each other play. Never mind the enemies, never mind ourselves. I know what Dardez is going to do before I know. Like, before he knows what he's going to do, you know? So the best matchup against Rival, I'd say that PBM's really aggressive, and I can play both ways usually. I'm not saying he can't, but he usually plays aggressive, so I kind of have to adjust to him, or him adjusting to me, which is obviously his strength at that point, so then I've changed my playstyle for him. But last time we played them, I was playing Ganesha, and I have my ult on Instacast there, but I usually have it a normal cast at home, because it's on a different client. I randomly pressed my ult in mid, so I was thinking this is going to be rough, and they kind of had momentum on us and they completely dumpstered us from there. So we're just going from there now. I think they kind of have the edge and momentum, but it doesn't affect me, and I really don't think it affects my teammates, so I just want to come in strong. If I'm going to be honest, I'll be completely honest, with these sets, like with Rival, I don't see them really really that important. I just see it as you turn up, you get, you know, you obviously really want to win the set, but you don't want to leak any strats, and you just want to beat them in a general game of Smite. You know, which is good because you get better seeding, you get better momentum. But if I lost to them, I wouldn't really mind that much because they're a really high tier team, and I expect to play them in the finals anyway, so.
Well, you heard it there from iRaffer. Obviously, he wants to win this match, but I guess he's already thinking, hey, this will likely be the finals matchup later on, right?
That's really interesting. I love
awesome.
it. Hey, man, this is a two-time world champ. You got to just take him at his word. And he knows what a quality team, a winning quality team looks like.
Right.
He can tell that he's on one in Renegades. He's definitely not wrong there. And I don't think he's wrong about Rival either. I would not be surprised at all if these were the two teams that we saw in the finals at SWC.
Yeah, we have a ton of really strong teams right now, and somehow these two have risen up to the top, and now we get to see them throw down. They did play in Phase 1, and as iRaffer alluded to, it was kind of a stomp in Rival's favor. We'll see if things look different here as Naja banned away along with the set. Not too surprising. The ones we're really trying to keep our eyes on, I mean, Olorun's been getting valued here and there. I feel like Jormungandr's value's been up and down there too, but obviously you want to get rid of Isis's and stuff like that at the same time. I'm very interested in what they're going to be valuing here.
Neither of these junglers are the quintessential Thor players. You know, they aren't your Adaptings or Cuvo Freds of the world, but they'll definitely play it. I definitely think that's an option for both of these squads. I like the direction that Rival has gone so far. You take Cherryo off a pick that you don't want him on, and they kind of spread the bans out.
Yeah.
They go Cherryo ban, iRaffer ban, Nika ban across the board. Thor is open. Olorun is also open here for Rival. Jormungandr's open if you want to just try and play the waiting game.
I'm worried about giving Zhong over to Funballer though, right? I mean, he loves to play that pick. I don't know how early they usually take him.
Yeah, they could end up doing that, and they decide instead to take Anhur. And this is not likely for the mid lane, I don't think. If we see a Chronos, then it probably will be in mid for PandaCat. But we've seen a ton of Arkkyl play this Anhur so far this year. It's been one of his most played gods, I bet. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that Anhur in the long lane here for Rival.
Horus comes through, which I did have a good feeling would be a contested pick between these supports. One, because PBM likes to play it, but also because iRaffer is certainly capable of it himself. But an early Xbalanque pick, very surprising me here at this point. I mean, not only is this not hugely valued by Renegades, it's not really hugely valued by anyone right now.
No, it isn't, but I think it makes sense. If Dardez isn't going to get the Anhur, then you want to get him on a comfort pick. He played one of the best ROM games we've seen in a long time, mostly because we haven't seen a lot of ROM as of late.
Right.
But also he had a lights-out ROM game yesterday, so maybe they wanted to wait. But if Rival bans Xbalanque ROM, what are you playing in mid? AMC's banned, Anhur's picked. So I have no problem with Renegades taking the Xbalanque pretty early.
Gives them such a huge team fighting ultimate though, and I wonder if that adds up to like your Horus value as well. If maybe you can't see him making his way to you during that ultimate because of the Darkest of Nights, could potentially be a potent combo as Chronos does come through, and as you're alluding to, now it does look like this Anhur might be going to PandaCat in the middle lane, and the Osiris. As the Thoth comes through for Funballer, this pick has risen in value a lot lately too.
We need to see an Ares ban here from Renegades, I think. I mean, you're looking at what Rival has. Ares doesn't seem great against them. You heard Cherryo in the post-game interview yesterday say if you can 8th or 9th pick an Ares, sometimes it just outright wins you the game, and Renegades do have their mind on it because Xbalanque, Horus, Thoth really do have a tough time against that character, so an intelligent ban.
Nice work there from Renegades to take that cripple out of commission. Rival have the solo lane, their mid and their hunter taken care of. It's support and jungle that we're worried about where they're going to be going with next. So that's what Renegades can try and focus on when their next ban. Like you said, I don't know if you necessarily are worried that Twig's going to play Thor right away. Twig has a diverse god pool, but also I feel like it's pretty safe as a ban there too, just to make sure you don't have to play against it.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Maybe Rival wants to take out what Nika wants to do in that short lane. You could ban Jorm and Achilles here. Those are his 2 next most played gods. They decide on the Thor, which makes sense. I'd love to see a Fenrir ban here from Renegades. We saw Mike play it yesterday in support. It's even a great pickup for Twig in this match, I think. Xbalanque, Thoth, 2 of the characters that just have no answers to Fenrir really available to them. He follows them through their dash with the Brutal Eyes, and that's, okay, Renegades on top of it. I love their second ban phase.
Me too. The Ares Fenrir is heads up against not just what Rival would be good into this combo, but Rival have already shown that they certainly are playing, so that's good recognition from them. Rival now back on the clock, and I'm actually a bit surprised they were the ones that banned the Thor. I thought that was more likely to be a Twig play than a Cherryo play, as they banned the Athena away too. That's a pretty wide gamut of things that might be played by Cherryo, so they might not have it dialed in.
Yeah, this also could have been solo lane bans. I mean, Nika's played Thor before. He can play the Athena, I bet, so that you kind of cover both bases of things Renegades need, so I like those 2. And you're not banning Jormungandr here on purpose because you know that Osiris is a pretty decent matchup in that lane. You can bully him out pretty effectively, and you want fineokay to get pressure in this on that side of the map. So you're leaving open Jorm with the understanding that, yes, it's a stronger pick than Athena right now, per se, but it gives you an opportunity to make plays on that side of the map.
Well, this has now gotten a bit scary for Renegades with this Fafnir locked in, plus the Anhur Chronos. I was just talking about how well this team plays around objectives, and I don't even mean the objective fight, which is good, but their recognition of when the windows are to take it before you even show up. And now they add the Mercury. They are all in on this basic attack focus comp.
Yeah, I really like this. I mean, you're going to see a Shoguns early here from PBM. Yeah. You're going to get a lot of extra attack speed. Renegades now need something that can handle all of this pressure. And Cherryo is going to have to try and find something. Bats comes to mind. Ends up being Serqet. And this is fine. Serqet, I'm never like angry at a Serqet pick. I'm never saying, oh, Serqet, what are you picking her here for? I don't think that Cherryo had a lot of great options available. Bats was okay. Kali doesn't seem that great. You need more early game than that. Serqet is there to consistently clear jungle and try and keep up with the Mercury. I think it's a fine pick for Renegades. I think their draft is okay. I like what Rival's done, but Rival's composition is very execution heavy. If they don't land everything, they will fall behind early, and this Renegades comp can snowball very, very well.
Yeah, this is really curious to me. Rival's composition seems very scary to me in the late game. I don't know if Renegades can fight into it quite comfortably, but in that mid game, like towards the tail end of the early game right before that, I think I'd much rather Renegades as comp, so it kind of feels like which one of those timings actually comes to fruition for these drafts.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Rival has a lot of narrow skill shots they have to land, and Renegades have a decent amount of mobility between the Horus, Xbalanque, Thoth, and Serqet. So it's a matter of if Renegades can stay safe and don't let Rival burn objectives. That's the big thing. We're going to see a frenzy almost certainly from Fafnir. You need to be ready, and Rival's best way to win this game is not necessarily even to fight a whole lot, but to just get objectives.
And exactly what Rival has always been good at, up against Renegades, a match between 2 top teams. Let's kick it off.
Rival and Renegades, we're here. The double R is casted by the double T's. It's going to be Tom and Tolly bringing you the dynamite today. Doug LeBlanc on the 1s and 2s as per usual, bringing you the action. And here, I mean, we're going to see a lot of action. And Tolly and I were talking during the picks and bans. This is one of these drafts that really bring the conversation out. It's all auto attack on the side of Rival, right? how, you know, Renegades, they've got a lot to kind of deal with, but
Okay, I love this strat. When I knew about the changes to the dual lane, I was worried about this strat.
You
the
were.
solo laner proxying between the tier 2 and the Phoenix, and then teleporting to his own lane. He's going to be level 2 very quickly. Hard to really stop him.
there's a spirit minion, don't forget, in that wave, and that's where the solo laner picks that up. All of a sudden, a big change here. Where does that put the carry? The carry makes his way into the mid lane. Arkkyl shows up.
Upgraded Sunder. PBM made a tweet this morning, Tom. He said, I can't wait to play against my good friend Cherryo and follow him all across the map. Speed buff was confirmed. Hard to really deny Deathbane Serqet with Assassin's Blessing, but you can make it stalled a little bit.
PolarBearMike still here by the red buff.
He got it. He actually got it. Tommy got it.
Big old confirm there.
He
for
got
PBM.
it.
Enjoying himself so far. Raffer not too thrilled. Cherryo, on the other hand, just gone. Cherryo wants nothing to do with this situation. Cherryo on the Serqet farming these mid harpies. Still level 1, comparatively speaking.
Look at the experience per minute. Because of the strat fineokay did, he's at the top of the charts in comparison
By a lot.
to, by a little bit over 100 compared to Nika. Cherryo able to at least catch up a little bit. Twig can't punish.
Looking for the damage on the Cherryo, but a little bit too early there, especially without finding the grab. So no big deal. It's a jump on a PolarBearMike, and he gets punished for his earlier transgressions.
That's a big deal.
Renegades take the lead change with the first blood bounty.
Because of where that kill went, that is a big deal. Cherryo stalled out a little bit. You know, he couldn't get his blue buff. He was able to not only invade those back camps, but get this first blood. And whenever there's a race of 2 assassins, one more ability-based, the other more in-hand focus, that's where you're really looking at, is how Cherryo can utilize those abilities before CaptainTwig's Mercury gets online in this late game.
Really looking for the complete kind of wraparound as well. Serqet can theoretically take care of the Mercury before it can do damage, so Cherryo wants to be the one jumping in and kind of looking for the target first and foremost. After the fact, CaptainTwig's going to be looking to late game for the big ultimate through the team fights. Really look for a little bit more control that way.
I'm surprised Twig actually canceled his back to not finish off the boots, or at least get tier 2 version of it. Instead, he tries to cancel out the back from Cherryo. That's going to give him a little bit of a power spike now, as he still has the Morningstar and tier 2 boots. We'll see where both these junglers go from here.
Early critical strike likely to be where CaptainTwig... Excuse me, early critical strike likely to be where Mercury goes. CaptainTwig, on the other hand, might bring out a Frostbound hammer.
That's true. He has done that in the past, but with the one not being able to proc that, I don't know if that's necessarily worth it anymore.
I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure he still built it after the change. CaptainTwig, definitely an interesting player, and the builds will certainly be very interesting. PolarBearMike expected to build the earlier Shoguns, as Ryan was saying. Team Rival likely to lean into the in-hand situation. fineokay, PandaCat, and Arkkyl all being basic attack oriented. And you know, it's very interesting. I'm always a proponent for, in these situations, the Witchblade and things like that. The problem is, things like that doesn't really exist. All you have is Witchblade to combat the auto attack characters, and when you have 4 of them, 3.5, that becomes like almost a situation where it's a drop in the bucket.
That's true. You have Witchblade, but you also have the Jade Emperor's Crown, but that's only the physical side.
Arkyl's still going
fineokay,
nuts.
Twig, PandaCat will be hindered from it. Arkkyl on the Chronos won't even feel a drop of that minus physical damage. But speaking of physical damage, CaptainTwig finishing off the Warrior tab by wanting to get the biggest bang for his buck off the scaling from his major look.
Right now, fineokay off that early start, able to finish the Glad Shield pretty early here. So he's got some sustain and obviously the CDR. Raffer behind enemy lines is in a little bit of trouble. Team Rival going to collapse around him, pinned against the wall. And that's almost certainly a death. Finds a dash to the teammate, heals up a little bit, and that could be a save. Totally it is.
Wow.
Raffer escapes trouble. And oh man, how much trouble there was.
And PandaCat even tried to read the dash by jumping where he thought Raffer would end up. I think he was like half a second too late to get to it, but still doing enough poke that I think Rival have the pressure in the mid lane to fan out wherever they want to, and that's why CaptainTwig confident enough to go for at least the 2 small camps. Harpies.
Yeah, we're going to see the him chased out of the jungle there with the big heartbeat. Red buff about to respawn as well. And iRaffer able to heal up just by way of the character kit. Doesn't even have to back to base. So big change there for Team Rival. Thought maybe they chased the support back. Not going to be the case. Dardez here in the middle lane on the Xbalanque. I think a lot of people sit here and go, man, I mean, where's the clear? How is he able to do this? And it's because Renegades are rarely leaving the mid laner alone. There's always somebody in lane.
And the branching bolas is a good way to get easy guaranteed poke damage either onto PandaCat or PBM and stack that passive. Every 1500 damage you're doing, you're getting 5 physical power. So this is what the objective is for Dardez. He's played it 2 times. This is his 3rd time in phase 2 on the Xbalanque, despite the nerf to the ultimate. No longer stunning, no longer needing to do that weird stutter step. It's still a good pick, honestly, because in conjunction with the long-range artillery out of Funballer.
2 players playing forward, looking for CaptainTwig. You won't find PolarBearMike in the middle of everybody. iRaffer knocks up, but low investment. So Renegades lose 2 blinks, which is very relevant. Here, CaptainTwig can find an ultimate, change his mind. Really try to find a fight here. Cherryo baits an ultimate out of PandaCat. Very disjointed from Team Rival. Ooh. There's the cut across from left to right by CaptainTwig. Cherryo tosses the clutch of the PolarBearMike. And a fight might not happen, but a pick does. And Rival find their first kill.
I think PBM actually stunned out Cherryo during that ambush and cancels it out completely. Dardez was forced to use the beads against PandaCat's aggression. Despite Rival dropping that first blood earlier, they're looking for these little plays wherever they can get them. I love the way PBM just like, you know what? I'm just going to ulti on the left side mid camps, and we're either going to force a fight or guarantee this little miniature objective.
Yeah, it was real awkward, I think, from Rival's perspective. You know, PandaCat just kind of hoping to get the kill on the chair. A lot of it was just Renegades had used the 2 blinks, were in a little bit of an awkward situation, and Rival, I think, felt like they needed to punish that minor mistake, but they just didn't have enough gas in the tank, and that's all well and good. And CaptainTwig comes through and really makes something out of nothing. Really smart play from CaptainTwig to just go, look, we burned some nonsense. I can find him. And PolarBearMike just follows up, no questions asked. Great show of both heads-up play from CaptainTwig, identifying the ultimate would find the target, and PolarBearMike buying in complete team synergy. If he stutters for half a second, totally.
Yeah.
PolarBearMike doesn't make it across the street, so to speak, to stun the Cherryo.
That's probably true there, actually. And it's important for Rival to not only, you know, take advantage of the blink relics that were used, but the non-relics that weren't purchased. For example, the beats, right? So Cherryo not having that defensive option before he's level 12, he's very susceptible to these consistent chases. PBM and PandaCat with Twig's global pressure can consistently look at this jungler.
We're going to get our first look at Team Rival's real strategy here. They start the gold tree at 8:09. PolarBearMike pops a little bit of everything. PandaCat provides an ultimate. iRaffer jumps in, gonna be the target of everybody. Renegades able to snatch it away, and it's all Funball, baby. Thoth from downtown takes care of business. iRaffer trades his life out, but Renegades snatch away the Gold Fury. And that is the Achilles heel of the composition here, Toli, as CaptainTwig finds himself between a Dardez and a Serqet ult. Down goes the jungler. Team Rival have all the DPS in the world.
They do.
But they don't have that emphatic pop, that secure, that Funball is able to provide.
Well, the only DPS that they were really lacking was the missing of the girdle. Normally PBM is known for picking up that relic, but instead going for the upgraded Sunder. He's really focusing out on individual targets as well as Twig's follow-up.
Well, that's the thing, is that the DPS, even without the Frenzy, is strong with your multiple basic attacks, but it's consistent damage, not burst.
True, but not only that, Arkkyl wasn't there right away. So he wasn't impacted by the Dragon Coerce out of PBM, and that is a huge deal. It was Funballer that got that Gold Fury, but he wasn't there right away. It took a little bit of time for him to get in position, for him to charge up that ultimate. It takes a couple of seconds, keep in mind, to get its full damage online.
And those valuable seconds that Funball was able to get in position probably cost Arkkyl wasn't able to be there for the Coerce. This is a very high execution strategy that we see from Team Rival, and honestly, there's no reason to doubt it. This is a #1 team on the standings, and they absolutely can perform like it. This is a team that can pull off these high execution strategies. All that said, nobody bats 1,000. Arkkyl misses a timing window, and Renegades are in position to steal away an objective. A nice look there from Renegades to be able to take advantage of that situation. Not only be ready, but also, like I said, have the composition for it. Team Rival don't have the objective secured. Renegades made sure to grab that.
Twig's in trouble, and that's going to be also a dead Dardez in mid?
A little bit of trouble there. PandaCat going to get hit by Funball's rotation from the carry, makes his way to mid lane. Dardez already toasted. It's a retreat from the Renegades. CaptainTwig says no. Dashes forward with the ultimate. Can't find a target.
Risky
so
play.
Team Rival walk away.
Risky play by both teams, honestly, going that deep. And I understand the thought process because Twig didn't have the beads, so he's very easy to just pick off with the Cobra's Kiss and the Last Breath. Arkkyl, very safe, confident that he was going to survive. And between these two players, a Funballer versus Arkkyl, there's a lot of history between these two players. I'm looking at their games, and they played 37 times against each other. And
wow.
Arkkyl is on the better end of that, winning 62% of them.
Decent stat line if you're trying to find those victories. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think it's these teams. It's such a different world. Actually, to find the CaptainTwig on the losing side of that stat is actually kind of surprising when you think about the historical strengths of their teams.
Yeah, Arkkyl is just, I think with Dignitas is where he got most of those wins up against Funballer when he was in the SK lineup. So trying to go for this kind of objective focus, his rival not really focused on the 1v1 matchup. And it's funny because Arkkyl was left to his own devices to start the game, right? It was actually the rotation in the mid lane instead.
12 minutes in here, Team Rival barely trailing by Renegades. A nice objective steal from Renegades carry specifically. Brings them a little bit closer here. Dardez eats a hammer. So the Xbalanque's fallen, gotten 2 assists, kept up pretty well, and we've seen how it's worked in previous games. You know, even with the change of the ultimate. Bit of a fight here as Cherryo has used the ult and gets hit by Arkkyl over the top, but Dardez takes care of CaptainTwig. Cherryo saved by iRaffer, a nice heal. Funball fires some shots at Arkkyl, no real consequence. CaptainTwig still out for 20 seconds. Renegades with the numbers advantage.
PBM
Again,
jumped. PBM
Arkkyl
jumped.
being looked at.
iRaffer, he's going to use the ulti. They're going to punish PBM for jumping.
And there it is. Knocked up is nowhere to go. Dardez puts down the support. Great job from iRaffer to identify that the escape was gone and taken away and then some. Nice play by Renegades, capitalizing on the number situation and the errant jump. PandaCat's jump under tower, probably a little bit more safe, so no big deal.
So I think PBM wanted to go onto Cherryo that was around 25% health on those left mid camps, thinking he didn't have the ambush or the deathbane to escape, and he knew that if he lands the stun jump, hold that thought though in mid lane, Twig catching out iRaffer.
Yeah, iRaffer couldn't find the CC on his end, but here comes a beautiful feed from Dardez. The dash forward. PandaCat answers back with an impale on the support. There's some more damage, and Dardez one shot on a PandaCat. Big damage coming out from the bolas. Arkkyl beats away the taunt, so down goes the jungler, and the rewind gets Arkkyl out of trouble. You want to talk about highlight reel plays? The Chronos coming in clutch.
An absolute bloodshed. I love the way Twig engaged that, but he misses the Sonic Boom on the target that he wanted to connect it on. It was iRaffer that was his primary goal, not the mid laner Dardez. So his beats actually turns that fight around as Twig got away, but can't say the same, unfortunately, for PandaCat that had to use the jump. Great rotation from both hunters. Unfortunately, Funballer missing that important final judgment to at least get a 2-for-1.
A real active game in mid so far. 9 kills in 14 minutes. Not an active game on the right side of the map. Here
Definitely
are
not.
our 0-0-0 solo laners.
Yeah, can we look at net worth? I'm curious as to how fineokay was able to translate that early start. It actually didn't matter too much, but then again, keep in mind the Gold Fury did go the way of Renegades.
Yep.
So that 400 gold net worth boost for Nika could be some of that towards gold, and then maybe some of it also towards blue buff invades. I'm not really sure what else happened.
Yeah, Totem of Ku has been largely split down the middle here. Big picture, Team Rival within striking distance of Renegades with a technical gold lead. But at the end of the day, you ask me, that's tied, baby. Oni Fury, the current Fury on the map. middle importance at this moment in time. I think if you get an Oni Fury, it's a little bit too early to really force it into a direct Fire Giant, although maybe for Team Rival, with their composition, an Oni Fury can result in a Fire Giant because they need less time on the objective.
Still a little bit of gold to add to your pocket, so it's not too bad. It could also bait Rival in a bad situation if they're not ready for it. Arkkyl sniffing it out alongside PBM, using that Accelerate. And Renegades, they do want to bait Rival in these spots because they have Funballer from a distance, and they're even going to bait up more ultimates.
CaptainTwig's ultimate going to be baited out by Dardez. Nice dash away by the Xbalanque player. Renegades on the back foot, retreating in middle lane.
Arkkyl taking way too much poke, and this is the advantage of the Thoth already for Funballer. He's been playing this god quite often, honestly. It's his most played god thus far in Phase 2, playing it his 5th time in his 13th game, but he's also played 8 different gods outside of that, having about 70% different god pick rate.
PolarBearMike jumps to the middle lane, wants to start something with Dardez. iRaffer's there and intercepts kind of all the action, no problem. Speed buffs are about to respawn, so our junglers will be safe and sound. No real ganks coming out because they have been the ones trying to make these plays over and over again. CaptainTwig, long-range ultimates, and Cherryo jumping repeatedly on the backline.
You're talking about these junglers and their speed buffs, but I'm looking at their builds, F-Dot. Look at this from both of them. Twig going for the Contagion. I understand the Toxic Blade, but Contagion on a Mercury, it's a little different. This is more of like your solo/support kind of build. You want, I guess, a little bit of anti-healing. iRaffer does have some team healing. Dardez has Aussie. Funballer with some lifesteal in his builds. But you're going to lack a lot of damage, where on the flip side, Cherryo is better off going defense on the Breastplate of Valor because of the percent damage between his passive proccing off of all the poison stacks.
Yeah, I'll be straight up and down. I don't really like the Contagion on CaptainTwig. I think there is a little bit of frustration as far as how much healing iRaffer can handle, or excuse me, iRaffer can deal out. He's certainly providing a ton of HP 5 for his team and repeatedly kind of bringing out situations where players would have otherwise died or been nice targets after some pokes. iRaffer is able to heal them back up, so it's not an issue. So I understand the need for anti-heal, but perhaps in the wrong spot. fineokay is going to miss the anti-heal ultimate. That's a big deal. There goes Cherryo jumping on top. Ultimate from CaptainTwig cuts through, but low damage on a Cherryo. CaptainTwig escapes. Here comes Nika. The first time we see our solo laners involved. Both of them largely with Renegades. Still looking to be aggressive around this gold Fury, totally. Rival support jumps in. iRaffer pushed to the back line. PandaCat on the left, looking for Funball. Nika from the backside takes care of Arkkyl. Pop, pop. Arkkyl goes down without the ultimate. PandaCat being jumped on. Renegades take it. Funball puts down the carry. And it's a 5 versus 3 scenario for at least a half a minute. That's an Oni Fury to Renegades. Nika from the left. And even steals the red buff just for added displeasure. Rival looking up at a 2,000 gold lead.
And even picking up the red buff to add salt to the wounds. You know, there's something to be said about forcing the issue, but I think Rival forced it a little bit too hard there because, unfortunately for CaptainTwig, he couldn't find the right angle fast enough. It was a dive, a hardcore investment dive from fineokay into that backline. And without that physical presence, once he got wounded, everyone had to scatter like cockroaches. Renegades collapsed back onto the team fight. Arkkyl not getting off the rewind was the first key towards Renegade's success.
Grouped around the Pyromancer. Rival trying to disrupt what Renegades have been able to do. fineokay down to 75% HP. Nika healthy as a horse. Dardez also, well, was healthy. A nice pot shot from Rival puts him down to about half. iRaffer, though, still local. Pyromancer leashed one more time. Arkkyl ulted, and ults in response. Cherryo on the other side takes down PandaCat. That's the assassin's job. Big damage. Nika goes into the ultimate and chases. Arkyl's Aegis is burned. Funball's here. Arkyl's there. Number 9 for Renegades. Nika goes back to the team. PolarBearMike nabbed, and Funball with the double kill. fineokay on the run. He'll likely escape and get out of here, but Pyromancer has Renegade's name all over it. And the big man just might as well, but fineokay not willing to go down without a fight, trying to take Funball with him. The long-range dash is good, the collapse is strong. Dardez puts it up, 11 for Renegades. Fire Giant no longer on the table, Anatoly, but the team fight, absolutely a nice look.
This is not looking like the typical rival that we're used to seeing in Phase 2, having a very impressive 3-1 set record, beating so many different teams. Dignitas, Pittsburgh Knights, stomping out Space Station Gaming. They're only lost to Splice. Now, granted, Renegades have been undefeated since the start of MSI, but the way they're playing it feels like a totally different rival. Like, the builds are off. Sunder from PBM, Contagion, Silverbranch build from CaptainTwig. I'm not in love with rival today.
PandaCat right now gets out of there without taking too much damage. Looks a lot scarier.
Okay.
And Funball from over the wall puts him down low. The ultimate chases one away, but iRaffer dive bombs Cherryo last hit. Jungler goes down to Nika despite all of the defensive items. Arkkyl will find a rewind. Cherryo unwilling to follow. Mid lane tier 1 tower the target. And Renegades like an arrow to the bullseye.
They just got to run it down mid. fineokay forced to use that ultimate defensively. With only 3 to play defense, I don't see how they defend the tier 2 mid tower. If I'm Renegades, I'm considering going straight to fire after this.
They're going to go straight into the Phoenix. Arkkyl rooted and booted. Funball puts number 14 up. This game exploded like a powder keg, Anatoly, and was relatively calm. There was 9 kills at about 14 minutes, and since then, we've seen another 9. It's been really, really impressive here from Renegades as they just kind of take the top off and make it go nuts. Renegades looking for the Fire Giant here. Up 9,000 already. The Fire Giant will go uncontested, and this will likely lead to an overwhelming gold lead for the Bandits.
You know, sometimes teams will like to play it safe, but not Renegades. They recognize 2 important cooldowns. It was the Lord of the Afterlife and Rewind. After the tier 2 tower, they're like, wait a second, how is Arkkyl going to survive? Let's just dive him. Still having Darkest of Nights to make that dive a possibility. Renegades really a top tier caliber team, and showing us why they went undefeated at the MSI. You can't play like this the way rival have been and expect not for Renegades to punish you back.
Really what I'm seeing here, Toli, and I talk about the equation, you know, balancing your composition a lot, and what Team Rival seem to be lacking is the pop burst damage that you normally expect out of your jungler and your Mercury.
Well, the thing is, I actually like their composition. It makes a lot of sense objectively towards getting the goal theories, towards late game team fights. CaptainTwig can easily clean up anything that the other 4 don't finish off to start. But the problem is how they play this early game and their builds into the mid game doesn't translate.
That's exactly where I'm going. I think, and I hate to kind of just harp on. I don't think it's one issue. Is kind of what I'm trying to preface.
I
this
agree.
statement by
It's
saying.
multiple.
But I think that CaptainTwig's build is not helping the team whatsoever. Now building into damage, Team Rival are already down this 10,000 gold. Renegades are barking down the left side. This damage coming out from CaptainTwig might be too little, too late. You see the player damage. That Mercury with 4,000 less than the Fafnir? You just can't do that.
Well, it's still early in the game for Mercury damage to be relevant, but I don't think Renegades are going to get to that point where Mercury will pop off.
iRaffer jumping on PandaCat, getting the beads and retreating. Left to right, right to left. CaptainTwig cuts through. Low impact.
Uh-oh.
Frenzy is popped on the backside. PandaCat already low. And here comes Nika. Big man plays.
Arkkyl.
3 players already dead.
This could
We
be
didn't
it.
even get to the team fight. Just picks on top of picks. CaptainTwig gets picked.
That's
and
it.
Nika on the back. That's going to be the whole game.
That's it. That's going to be game indeed. It was just a great showing coming through from Renegades. Very clean and adapting very well to the start coming from rival. PBM trying to be a nuisance in the start. Goes for Sunder. Doesn't really get much value out of it. He actually gets first blooded, I believe, by Cherryo. And Cherryo, despite getting delayed from the jungle, was still very relevant.
Yeah, an interesting look here from Team Rival, and I hear you. I think it still wasn't 22, 23 minutes in the game. You're not at critical mass for Mercury no matter what, but you're still at least in 1 crit item, 2 crit item territory. It's a much different look. Again, it's not as simple as just if the jungler built differently, Rival would have won, but I do think that you picked the Mercury to do something, and he wasn't equipped to do that.
Yeah, I think that the way PBM played it early on kind of cripples CaptainTwig in the later stages, because if that was a girdle instead of a Sunder, I think also if Arkkyl was there earlier for the Gold Fury, that was the secured objective. Rival wouldn't have been struggling as hard, and then Twig could easily transition to the mid to late game. Maybe would have done a different build.
Either way, this one all comes up for the Renegades. Nice look for them, strong stuff. We'll be back with game number 2.
Alienware, the official PC provider of the SMITE Pro League. Tough game 1 for Rival, but really dominance from Renegades. In all honesty, it looked like nothing was working from Rival from minute 1. And to help me talk about maybe where things might have gone wrong or what could have been improved, I got Ryan Aggro Bailey right here next to me. Ryan, do you agree with that assessment, man? It looks like they never got off the ground.
Yeah, I mean, like I said during the picks and bans, that was an execution-heavy draft, and Rival really never executed. I mean, it was a little bit odd. They forced a lot of stuff. They really were trying to brute force their way into objectives, and Renegades just played slow. They played patiently. They let Rival come to them and overextend, and they won the game because of it. The weird tank Mercury build from CaptainTwig.
Yeah, you can sell Contagion, but we remember.
Yeah. No, I think it's because it's just a newer item and it doesn't slot in there. He still had it. I mean, PBM had the upgraded Sunder to enable this build from Twig. That's the whole reason why it's there, I think, and why we see PBM pick that Sunder up early. It just did not work here. I'm not going to say Tank Mercury can't work because Twig has done it for years at this point.
Sure.
But it all started going downhill from this exact moment where Funballer, look, this team is really good at doing objectives for Rival and doing them quickly, but certainly not at securing them, and that's where this Thoth pick, I think, really threw a wrench in Rival's plans.
Yeah, I think so too, and they just kind of went for this one. It felt like you said, a little bit too forced, right? They didn't have a ton of information, and PBM didn't go like the frenzy, which we often see in that slot. You heard Tolly kind of talking about that a little bit. You know, were they going to get enough value out of that Sunder as opposed to maybe that frenzy there too? So that's one thing for consideration. But like you said, a lot of the fights felt like Renegades could see what they were going to do the entire time on their way in, like some sonic booms from Twig that were easily read by Renegades, some forced engagements out of PolarBearMike as well, and maybe they'd get a pick, but they'd lose way more on the back end.
Exactly, and PandaCat, poor guy, was under siege all game long, just got crushed by Cherryo and that Transcendence build that he went for. Tons of CDR for Cherryo in the build with the Breastplate of Valor after that as well. Renegades just played slow. They let Rival make mistakes and come to them. And now Rival has to realize that, okay, you know, we tried this brute force strategy. I think a lot of teams have played scared of Renegades, and so maybe if we just come out and hit them as hard as we can in the mouth right away, make them respond to us, we might catch them slipping. That did not happen, and I think Rival is going to try and change it up here in Game 2.
And remember, we got to give Renegades a lot of credit for those picks and bans, especially that second phase. The Ares Fenrir bans, the Jormungandr pickup that I really liked, the Horus pickup early from Rival as well. I think that those pieces do kind of make that strategy work a lot less. I mean, I know that you do want the Fafnir there anyway, but if you do have maybe something a little bit more aggressive, maybe you can set some of those paths up a little bit easier. I do think Renegades kind of came in with a good read on what Rival was trying to do this game.
Completely agree with you. I mean, Rival clearly was willing to pivot to this strategy. I do think think if Fenrir or Ares is open, then they take either one of those and go with a different strategy. But that's, you have layers to your drafts, right? This is where we're going to take top 3. If they ban X and Y, then we've got game plan Z. You've got a bunch of different options to go for. And Rival, I think, getting those last 2 pick combos that completely transform your draft is a really good way to keep teams off balance and make you hard to pick and ban against. And Rival's idea was solid, just in execution, it was not.
Yeah, didn't end up actually being able to make that work. We've already talked a little bit about the Mercury, right, and how that didn't seem to quite hit home from them. I mean, this to me did come down yet again to kind of that 3v3. I mean, we never really got to see, or not PandaCat, but Arkkyl have much impact here, it felt like, on this game. Or fineokay. There were some times when he grouped up early and they were looking for some rotations, but I don't think any of them were really that fruitful.
No, I mean, Funballer was one of the stars of that game, if not the star, and Arkkyl did next to nothing in comparison. I mean, that is what this draft was designed to do for Rival, was just group up on objectives, push them easily, and get a couple picks. It just never happened, and Funballer was able to out-secure a lot of these objectives, and what do you know, Rival just first banned the Thoth from him.
Yeah, not going to let that one happen again. I was talking a lot about potentially being worried about the Zhong, but you pointed out to me that, Renegades didn't really even prioritize it that much yesterday.
Right.
So maybe they are feeling a little bit more about this Thoth for Funballer, so Rival making the right call. Ban this, ban the Khepri. They were really spread out with their bans last time, so they'll do one towards Funballer, one towards iRaffer, and we'll see if they'll spread out with those bans again.
Last time it was Naja and King Arthur to take away gods from Cherryo and Nika. We'll see if they want to pick one of those or just leave both open this time around. Thor made it all the way through to the second banning phase. Maybe Rival wants to prioritize that this time. They will ban away the King Arthur, so maybe they are considering a Naja first pick. But Cherryo hasn't been first picking or top picking or really even always picking Naja when it's open. He doesn't just go to that default to that pick anymore. He's really widened that god pool by a considerable margin. And even if it's left open, it's not a guarantee that he'll go for it.
Anhur in this slot last time. For PandaCat, it ended up turning out. I think that had some flex potential for them, and that's just how the draft went. But not this time. They prioritized the Horus that was picked immediately by Renegades on the back end. So they're going to make sure PBM has this aggressive pick he likes to play with early, right out of the gate.
I like it. I like taking this away from iRaffer. He's such a big part of that 3v3 in mid with this selection, but then you give Dardez Anhur. I mean, this is playing against Renegades in a nutshell. You do a lot to try and get them off these picks that feel like insta-win them the game, and then you just can't help but give them a couple of them. iRaffer's god is almost always top 2'd. Renegades love getting iRaffer a priority pick early, and why wouldn't you when he plays this well? Anhur Geb, lock it in. You've got 2 of your 3 members of that 3v3 ready to go.
I love this Erlang Shen pick coming through, but I feel like we don't give Nika quite enough credit on this Renegades team.
Agreed.
And what I mean by that is that they don't often prioritize Nika's stuff at all. They don't usually give him the last pick. They don't prioritize stuff early in the draft. They kind of put him in the lurch, and he manages to come out of it not just looking really good for the team, but putting them into better spots on the back end. So I think that makes it so much easier for them to get priority picks for iRaffer all the time when they know they can trust Nika to play almost anything.
Erlang Shen is going to be in the jungle here for CaptainTwig. And Zhong, this is not a Zhong ADC. I don't think Arkyl's played it yet this year.
Agreed.
And this is going to be Zhong in the short lane rather for fineokay. And I love this Olorun pick from Renegades, man. I mean, you look across the board at Rival, what are they lacking? CC immunity that lets him move around. I mean, Horus, yeah, if he gets Sanctified Fielded, he can go up to the sky, but his body's still standing there during the channel. Zhong gets just destroyed by Sanctified Field. All that burst damage really goes by the wayside. Exorcism is a long wind-up whenever you're slowed down by Sanctified Field. Feels like all of your damage takes forever. That Book of Demon Stun takes a long time to get around him. I mean, this pick is flawless by Renegade. This top 3 is just perfect. I love it.
And this is frightening, and we still don't even know necessarily what the long lane matchup is going to be for this Olorun, most likely. So Rival will at the very least get to pick into that with some knowledge there for Arkkyl. But just based on his pick preferences, if it's not a Chronos, I imagine it will still be another basic attack hunter of some kind that will likely struggle trading with Olorun once he gets to like that level 8 or 9 point. I mean, once Olorun gets past that 100 damage threshold and starts getting those crits online, even if it doesn't feel like it, you're losing those trades likely.
And I love these bans from Renegades. You just take gods that can solo Olorun off the table because Arkkyl still is playing nothing but physical hunters for the most part.
Yep.
Just take him off gods that can get solo kills there. Hachiman comes to mind now for Rival as a god that can push a lead pretty well. I wouldn't want to see a Jing Wei. You basically are telling Arkkyl, yo dude, this Olorun just destroys our comp so hard that we need you to have a big laning phase and we need you to get solo kills over there.
Vamana and Ares banned away by Rival. I imagine this Vamana's a bit of an eye towards Nika in the short lane. The Ares more towards the jungle to limit Cherryo, but Osiris gonna come through. And this is kind of what you're alluding to, right? Is that even when you're banning away some of these top things from them, the things you know are gonna be problems up against you, I mean, my man gets to pick Osiris for those a top tier pick here right now for Nika. So Renegades feel so good at this pick and ban phase, and then when they get into the game, executing on it as well.
A Habwa mid. PandaCat hasn't played that in a while.
That's a comical you gave us.
I like it. It could work here in this draft because Rival needs something. I mean, I think they've gotten just destroyed so far in picks and bans in this game. I love what Renegades have put together.
This is long lane Habwa then you're thinking?
No, this is mid lane.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is mid lane for PandaCat. We're going to see a Hunter here, and is Jing Wei. Look, Jing can push advantage, but not as well as some other hunters. Honestly, Uller Ho Yi too that can really push it very well. Maybe something like a Rom could have worked, but maybe I'm just getting some recency bias from how well Dardez played it yesterday, and that's certainly not the norm showing for a character like that. Rival's draft is okay. It does some things well. It's got good damage. It's got decent CC. You've got great CC chain potential, but not great AoE CC. Really good magical damage between the Zhong Queen and the Habwa, and Renegade's draft I think is just too good. Their mid 3v3 is going to be nasty. This Olorun ultimate, Funballer is playing it at such a high level right now that as long as he finds good sanctified fields, Rival is fighting an uphill battle from the very beginning.
Renegades gets a 10th pick, the Najah, that was banned first overall by Rival in Game 1 to go ahead and show you just how much that was able to kind of slip through when Rival had other things to worry about here in this draft. But yeah, I think the 3v3 once again does kind of become the conversation, right? This Erlang, Shen, Horus, and the Habwa up against this Geb, this Anhur, and the Najah from Renegades. And I don't know, man. Erlang, Shen, and Horus is a ton of really good fighting potential early on.
Sure.
I think Rival's 3v3 really can stand toe-to-toe with Renegades.
But all that CC chain potential is probably going to get negated by Raffer's shields. I mean,
Sure.
Raffer is playing like one of the best Gabs in the game right now. Anhur is Dardez's still premier character. He
Yes.
is the premier Anhur in the league, no doubt. And Funballer is one of the premier long laners. I don't know, man. Renegades, I think after a game like Game 1, where Rival seemed a little bit antsy, didn't seem particularly comfortable,
Yeah.
and Renegades played so patiently and really made very few, if any, mistakes, and then you get a draft like this, I'd be very surprised if Rival end up winning this game. Not to say that Renegades are going to sweep the set or anything like that. I think Rival is certainly capable of winning 3 in a row, but I think they need to make some adjustments in the picks and bans because Renegades here came away with a great draft.
Yeah, that Game 1 loss hurts. It's Renegades that came in with that unbeatable aura. Can Rival overcome it here in this Game 2?
That is what we are here to find out. I'm with you, John. I really like the 3v3 coming out from Team Rival. Tom and Tolly on the mic one more time. And as always, Doug up there on the top. CaptainTwig, PandaCat, PBM have tremendous kill this guy potential.
Yes.
They target a person. By the way, shout out to PandaCat playing the Jing Wei and not the Hebo. An interesting look here.
Very surprising, actually.
And can I be honest, one that I don't love?
I'm not in love with it either, but look at what he's going to do. He's going to actually start off with Ninja Tab by utilize the Jing Wei passive to get to the mid lane, and that's going to be a good boost of mana, physical power, and attack speed to out-clear Dardez on the Anhur.
Another interesting start from Team Rival. As Tolly said, he's going to build up the gold, get the Ninja Tabby, and then wind up getting exactly in place. No problem. No missed damage, no missed items, no missed nothing. Perfect play here. PolarBearMike looks for Dardez right away. The beans are stripped immediately. The knockup's cute, but ineffective. And PandaCat farming the wave here. With the Jing Wei in place of the Habwa, you know, it's an interesting look because you're getting the persistent gusts, water spout. It's the same ability, right?
Yes.
But you are missing the Habwa just kill you thing.
To be fair, though, Arkkyl is going to be responsible for that Habwa kill you thing because in the long lane, you're getting the most experience. So would I rather have a higher level Jing Wei or would I rather have a higher level Habwa? And honestly, I'll take the latter.
I agree. And maybe that is going to be more important because looking at this, my original assertion here with a Hebo in the middle lane would have been Team Rivals 3v3 is fantastic early on. They're going to just target somebody, strip the beads, target them again, kill them again, kill them again, kill them again, kill them again. Team fight time, Funball wins the game, right? Because the Olorun ultimate will beat out fineokay's, blah, 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 blah. But with Hebo getting all this farm, if Arkkyl rotates early with a nice little level lead on everybody else, it makes a huge Hebo impact. Team Rival could run away with that mid-game and make it so that they're so far ahead of Renegades by the time those Olorun ult comes online. We see the 5-on-5s that Renegades can't really dance. I think that needs to be the game plan. A lot of weight on Arkyl's shoulders here.
There's a lot of little check marks that need to be crossed off for that to be successful.
Yeah.
And I think the more complicated you make it, the trickier it becomes, because Renegades aren't going to let you do that for free, right? Like, they're going to recognize the power of the Habwa mid and adapt accordingly.
Yeah.
Against iRaffer that's on the Geb, he's going to shield the target that gets picked off, right? Like, and even if you do target iRaffer, since he can't shield multiple people, he's a tanky Geb. He's probably going to go for the reinforced shoes. Geb's passive. You're not going to be able to get crit. So Jing is a little weird as well. So pick your poison, I guess. I would rather see PandaCat in mid with the Jing if he's going to get bullied the same way he did in the last game.
Well, left side, here comes PolarBearMike looking for Funball. The beads are good. The knockup won't really save Kieran. And I think first blood will go to Team Rival. Arkkyl with first blood, important to note. And so the carry Hebo will be looking good already. That said, Renegades had found an early lead. And so a tie game here after the first blood.
Needs to be more wards. I think for both of these teams on that duo lane, after the 225 mark is when junglers are getting their second speed buff that's respawned, and that 35-second window, they could be anywhere. You don't know if they're sticking to the blue buff or rotating to the duo lane side, and with how many junglers or even supports like to pick up Blink these days, there's like that danger in the back of a hunter's mind, doesn't matter if it's a mage or otherwise, that needs to be recognized. Funballer without any sort of mobility gets punished.
Easy there for Team Rival. PolarBearMike doing a great job of playing the Horus. And to kind of find his positioning and do what he did in the middle lane, except this time get the kill. Obviously no jump for Funball the way Dardez has one, so the beads and the kill on top of it.
It's so interesting to see how both of these supports prefer the Horus this much, as iRaffer is very good with it. He doesn't necessarily care if he gets it right away, because there were other priority bans that Renegades had to focus out. Obviously, Set and Isis being number 1 and 2, but then also the Musen Cobb that they banned away. You don't want to give PandaCat that kind of mid-pressure with the B-God, so instead focusing on a different kind of hunter on the Jing.
And as I said before, I'm ready to be proven wrong. This is absolutely one of those games where just prove me wrong. I want to see it work. I spoke with Ryan on the desk yesterday about hunters untested in the mid lane, things like Yi that could be played. Obviously, the lane is wider from a couple years ago, so the triple bounce isn't really there. But the ultimate, all well and good. Jing is really not the character that I turn to. But again, we'll see.
I think it's just their playbook. At the end of the day, Rival is a team willing to really expand their playbook beyond the limits.
Yeah.
Before this set started, they've played 15 games total in Phase 2. fineokay has played 10 different gods. CaptainTwig and PandaCat each playing 8 different gods. PBM with 7, Arkkyl with Elise with 5, but you don't really care on the long lane anyway. And this is a team that has the most creativity with not only their god selection choices, but obviously from the last game, their builds as well.
Renegades on the flip side is probably the only team that winds up outdoing that. I mean, you're talking about the long lane, Arkkyl. Sure, you only played 5 characters. You don't really think about that. But Funball's the guy that's going to pull out anything and everything, right? And so it's interesting. Rival, you're absolutely correct in your assertion that this is a creative team and a squad willing to experiment and try new things. Perhaps only outdone by the creativity and experimentalism of the Renegades. And so when you're going head-to-head against, Spider-Man meme time, well, Renegades is you, but wearing shoulder pads.
Yeah.
So, how does Team Rival really combat that? I think there are 2 ways. Either just kind of peel it back and just do your fundamentals correctly, or this one goes up to 11. And Arkkyl's totally doing his best Spinal Tap impersonation here. And the traditional hunter playing the Hebo. But as I said, Toli, prove me wrong, I'm down.
Yeah, I don't think you could have used a more accurate meme to represent these two teams battling against each other. It's the Spider-Man meme. They like similar god selections. They like to be creative
Cherryo.
with their selections. Arkkyl, no beats.
Waited it out. Nice job by Cherryo. And that,
Wow.
Oh, Cherryo did burn the
Yeah,
ult.
he did. And the thing is,
I didn't expect him to.
because of the max range artillery sash,
Yeah.
it takes a travel time. And as you're traveling there, the stun is already ticking off. So that's why Arkkyl got off the ultimate before Cherryo was able to connect.
I actually didn't expect Cherryo to ult there at all. That's a moment where you artillery sash and like save the world. Like, I guess he knew that the beads were down,
Yes.
and so wanted to just directly go into it. But as you said, the ultimate saving Arkyl's life.
Yes, if he was a little bit closer with the sash stun, then the stun would still persist a little bit longer once Cherryo has arrived and can continue to cast. But that favoring Arkkyl, but technically that favors Funballer now, because without the ultimate, without the beats from Arkkyl, Funballer is safe to farm. And that's so important from his first previous death, to play a little bit of catch-up, still in the same pacing of the experience. The only thing he's really down is the net worth, and that's just the first blood bouncy going Arkyl's way anyway.
Yeah, the itemization virtually the same here. I mean, stacks on their blessings are even 2 to 3 stacks apart, wave to wave. So Funball very, very evenly matched up here at the moment with the Habla. It's worked out pretty well so far. Only 1 kill, 0 deaths.
Oh, wow. Okay. PandaCat forced to use that ultimate defensively. He's always been pressured this way, it feels, whether he was on the Anhur or the Jing way. And without that airstrike, Renegades are free to invade.
Just an easy look. Really no threat there. And I look at the Jingwei pick.
Yeah, you just got to box them out any way you can get it, and that was a great opportunity to strip away red. It's not something you can really build off of, but I think it's iRaffer that could turn this one around.
PolarBearMike going to use the ultimate to pop around from right to left. Cherryo's getting knocked up, but Dardez is there to keep Arkkyl at bay. Water Hands is strong, and ultimate would confirm, but Arkkyl afraid to use it and wind up on enemy side. Cherryo finds the ultimate, avoids Arkkyl, and brings down CaptainTwig. iRaffer with the last hit. Funball leaves the field behind. And it's a 1-for-1. Dardez out for CaptainTwig.
Feels like there was a little bit of miscommunication for Renegades, just jointing that Naja ultimate with the Desert Fury out of Dardez, but still a 1-for-1. And whenever you can shut down a jungler, doesn't matter who that is, it's going to favor out Renegades.
Erlang Shen, one of the more powerful characters in the game, even with some of the changes he's seen. And so with that in mind, keeping him at bay, certainly a nice look. Cherryo, of course, that's one of my favorite things about Naja ult there. Cherryo uses it both to avoid dying to a Habwa and kill the opponent there.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good, I think, for both of these teams thus far in game number 2, specifically after losing for Rival, to come back into this one, battling into it, utilizing the pressure onto iRaffer if he's caught alone. He was forced to use that defensive ultimate, didn't want to get chain CC'd and eat a crushing wave for his trouble. And I thought that the collapse out of Renegades would have been a little bit faster to save iRaffer, but instead it was Cherryo forced to retreat under that gold.
I also expected a faster collapse, and I don't know why. I guess players were just a little bit too further than I realized, but Renegades have consistently collapsed. That's one of the things that makes them very strong, is these usually around like red buff invade or purple buff invade, like that was pretty much what it was. We see this almost magnetism from Renegades usually, and that 1-for-1 is usually a 2-for-1, and I think that's credit to Team Rival able to dance around that.
To think that because of an airstrike being forced under the mid lane, it leads to a red buff invade, leads to a 1-for-1 around Gold Fury, the little butterfly effect that comes through. And it's so important for CaptainTwig to fall for Renegade side, because Cherryo on the non-shot needs this momentum. Now with a 2-level lead, could potentially see a purple buff invade with Funballer, probably leaving them alone. But jungle versus jungle invade on the back camps.
CaptainTwig here has no beads, but Cherryo still keeps the ultimate hold. Won't go in just yet.
Good pressure
from the enemy jungle.
Forcing those ultimates, whether it's Airstrike, 9 turns Blessing, a huge offensive or defensive ultimate, honestly. No healing now available for Twig. That's finished off. The Brawler's Beat Stick, surprisingly, instead of the Crusher. Normally, you want that attack speed on the Erlang Shen. You want that extra damage coming from your abilities to maybe 100-0 somebody. But there is some healing from Renegades you have to respect. Cherryo with a self-sustain. Funballer as well can easily heal his teammates.
That's the one. Yesterday we saw Zatman play Olorun in SK's only victory in their match, and it was largely off of the back of Zatman's Olorun choice. The Sanctified Fields were fantastic, sure, but he had about 23 to 25 player damage and 23 to 25,000 healing. It was insane, the amount of mostly, and this is the bigger point here perhaps, out of combat healing during sieges.
With Fire Giant.
With Fire Giant. And so with that in mind, does CaptainTwig need a Brawler's Beat Stick? I'm going to say yes. Does he need it here? I think that's up to the jury.
I agree. He definitely doesn't need Brawler's Beat Stick this early.
Exactly.
And some people would even argue, does he even need Brawler's Beat Stick at all?
Right.
And
I think he does need it. I like the choice, but I just...
I don't mind it.
Yeah, I'd like to see a different item, I think.
I would much rather see a Crusher, obviously, here than Brawler's Beat Stick, whereas Cherryo going for more physical power focused, a little hybrid with the Blackthorn's Hammer. You definitely want that 10% CDR and all the mana that comes with it. And then going to probably finish off a Transcendence as well. That's an interesting look to see a Naja with this item. A very good item to have 1,050 mana with.
Yeah, Transcendence on Naja is fantastic. Plus, like you said, the synergy with the hammer is going to give him even more damage. But yeah, that's what you're looking for, just pure damage out of the Naja. And of course, late game, the Transcendence damage will actually factor into basic attacks, which is pretty gnarly as well. Heartseeker also an option, but perhaps later on. Raffer starting a fight and getting jumped on. There's the Sanctified Field. Dardez through the wall. CaptainTwig in the ground. PolarBearMike taking an hour to get on out of there. Chased up by Cherryo. The ultimate's down, though. And that's enough. Renegades get one and peel back.
Rival needed to commit literally everything if they wanted to kill Raffer. The only thing they were missing was the Crushing Wave, but Arkkyl recognized if he uses that ability, he's in no man's land.
And the punishment from Sanctified Field, even more so. Cherryo misses the sash on the ever-fragile Hebo. Here comes PolarBearMike by himself. Arkkyl staying on the safe side, and PBM relatively low. Resets to Gold Fury for sure. And a blink goes down just for added safety from PBM. Renegades can't get the objective, and a great stop by Team Rival.
Well, they still get a pick at the end of the day, which is all they really wanted, continuing to shut down CaptainTwig. PandaCat barely getting off that ultimate, and now with Cherryo with this level lead, can easily back for Transcendence.
Yeah, we'll see if that's, like I said, yeah, the Gold Fury is going to be on the menu. And Team Rivals here, Arkkyl has ultimate. PolarBearMike's available as well. Wards aren't there, but player intuition is. 10% on the objective so far. PolarBearMike sends out a gust of wind, not good enough. Funball, Dardez can't find the target, chooses to reset. Miscommunication there from Renegades. No big deal. Sloppy, but they get it.
They were really fearful of that Crushing Wave, and for good reason, because the way they were all clumped up there, not only are they threatening losing the goal here, they're threatening of getting hit by it, and I like the patience from Renegades. Dardez with a well-timed impale to not only secure the Gold Fury, but knock Arkkyl away before he gets that ultimate off.
Yeah, there was that weird stutter step where they had ultimates and being leashed, but we cleaned it up at the end. Nika, Cherryo versus 3 players here on the right side. CaptainTwig goes up, and CaptainTwig goes down. Nika with the last hit off the support of the jungler.
Dardez actually almost falling to PandaCat. Outside of that tier 1 tower that did fall earlier on. That red buff doing a lot of work there. A very early executioner after this Transcendence coming from PandaCat. And this build is accelerated because he doesn't have that blessing to start off. So we're already seeing 3 items out of him. Dardez still trying to finish off what I'm assuming is going to be a Crusher. And honestly, I think that this is why junglers build the defense, because when you're forced to use your ultimate, forced to use your relic anyway, you need to rely on that third factor. And it needs to be either physical defense or the health. CaptainTwig's build provides neither quite yet.
Nika versus 2 one more time. The solo laner finds themselves outnumbered. Not outgunned, though. The Broken God certainly has a whole lot of damage reduction.
Yeah.
16 and 8.
He's super blue. And when he's that blue right there, that means his passive is all the way stacked. And with 8 stacks, you're looking at 8% magical mitigation and 16% physical. And after you use about 6 basic attacks, goes away.
Nika just running around. I got the blue. Arkkyl got the gold. Was able to walk away with the beads on cooldown. A victory for Cherryo. All that's expended is a low cooldown armillary sash. Ain't no thing.
Arkkyl has been very careful in this game in particular. He's been waiting for ganks to come his way, which is not a bad thing, obviously, but he's been a little hesitant in the team fights. And I think Rival has been in a weird spot because they need to find a way to force something, but they're going on to iRaffer. And iRaffer is surviving very easily, mind you. And without Arkyl's crushing wave, they just can't secure those kills.
It's an interesting look here for Arkkyl. No penetration just yet. Usually by the 3rd item, we start to see a little bit of penetration, but this is all defensive itemization. 3 players on 1, Funball even with an ultimate likely to go down.
That's overkill. Cherryo can easily capitalize with Nika's rotation, but it's PBM to get them all out.
Yeah, he's going to just see you later, man.
Unless...
That said, Hebo gets caught. Arkkyl goes down. Nice look there. PolarBearMike, though, that was cute. I like that play.
I mean, technically, Arkkyl was to the sky as well, right next to his teammates, just in a different way.
It was, you know, 2 planes passing each other in the night.
High-fiving each other. It's like, I'll see you guys later. Poor Arkkyl, man. And he's pretty tanky, I would say, as well, between this Hythax piece and the E-Staff. And the one ultimate he uses was unnecessary, putting himself out of position. It's like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. And that goes back to the last time they tried to go into iRaffer. He's like, kicking himself for not using that ultimate, so he uses it there and then gets punished for it.
PolarBearMike and Arkkyl. The squad take flight with 3. They return with 2. Arkkyl. New nickname Goose.
Unlucky.
Is this a spoiler for like a 30-year-old movie?
I was not aware of what reference you were going with.
Top Gun, baby! Welcome to the danger zone! Oh, come on. Totally ain't no Maverick.
Sorry.
Totally ain't no Maverick. We got a brief pause in the action real quick. We'll take a look at what's going on in a matter of moments. Headsets are on, so must be a technical difficulty. We'll see what's going on. Never mind. We're just going to jump right back in. PandaCat discussing things, so we'll take a zoom out real quick. Team Rival, a little bit in the lead for Renegades. And no problemo. Right back to it. So 18 on the clock here. We'll reset. We're tied up at about 45,000. Slight lead for Team Rival, but don't ask me about it. What it comes down to here, Anatoly, is I think it's time for Arkkyl to get busy. You're level 16, level 15. You're able to really make these moves 2-1-1. We see what happens when you're aggressive over there. Sure, maybe you got a little bit punished. I think that's neither here nor there. What we just saw that play on the left side, more of that.
Definitely need more side lane pressure. Not just Arkkyl, but also Nika / fineokay need to start rotating a little bit more. Nika with 2 kills thus far under his belt. fineokay kind of a non-factor now, and with these 4 items completed, I think it's time for him to start rotating around, especially when you've already gotten this tier 1 tower. It's time to show the AoE presence of this level 17 Zhong.
That's really the difference maker there is Zhong versus Funball. As we reach these late stages of the game, these later stages of the game, the ultimates out of the big mages are going to be what changes things, I think. If Arkkyl lands a good crushing wave, Team Rival can win the game, win the fight off of that alone. Same goes for fineokay's team presence and Funballers. If Funballer lays down the perfect sanctified field, Renegade can just win the fight off of that alone. Totally, you asked for it. Ye ask and you shall receive.
He needs to blink onto Funballer because that Aegis is still not available. Rival are going to force Renegades to come closer.
25. iRaffer blinks in. Confirmed by Renegades. Taken away out of the hand of Team Rival. PolarBearMike looking for engagement, and Renegades are there. PandaCat beats down iRaffer. Funball trapped up and trapped down. Aegis is good for the moment. Somebody's got to find the hit, and they can't. Funball wiggles away down south. CaptainTwig on the chase. Nika entertaining 3 while Cherryo tries to catch up with the carry.
He's going to sacrifice himself. Meanwhile, Funballer goes down on the opposite end. PBM going to PLS Cherryo trying to retreat. Renegades did get the objective, but at what cost?
We trade out the entirety of the team, sans Dardez. A gold swing in the favor of Team Rival, despite the fact that Renegades snatch away the Gold Fury. Down about 2,000, 1,500. Wave to wave. Team Rival cross the street. Fire Giant is the call. I think this is a great one. Funball, Cherryo, Nika out for about 20 seconds. Dardez and iRaffer on the map. Nowhere to be seen. Team Rival wrestle control of the match.
This is how objectives need to be played. That left side, because fineokay makes a rotation first, it puts Rival in a 5-on-4 technically, despite Nika being alive. So they utilize that by funneling Renegades in. Once fineokay goes in with the recall demons, he gets ultimated by Cherryo just to prevent that DPS from happening, but that's a tanky Zhong. You're not going to be killing him anytime soon, and everyone from Renegades too clumped up. Arkkyl having a field day in that last team fight.
Beautiful stuff there. Team Rival doing exactly what they needed to do. The key there for Renegades was that they were spread out. Funball gets caught, iRaffer gets caught, and without the team being grouped up, that's where Renegades is most exploitable. That Sanctified Field is in a spot, and it can't move. It is what it is. And so if Renegades aren't in position to make use of it, they're all spread out. Team Rival have a great composition for finding those picks. We celebrated the CaptainTwig PolarBearMike ability to lock one player down for far too long. Arkkyl adds damage on top of that and some control by way of knockup, the best CC that you can ask for, because it's DR-less. Beautiful look from Team Rival. They've done exactly what they intended to with this composition.
I don't know if Renegades is going to win this base race. They're not even starting on that tier 2 tower on the right side, but look what's happening to the skies. PBM looking for the Phoenix.
Left side, Funball by himself. Team Rival finally grouping up. CaptainTwig far, but will join the party. iRaffer ults, Arkkyl goes down, thanks to the hand of Dardez, all for the stun from the support. PolarBearMike being chased down by Nika. CaptainTwig trying to peel for the support, while the rest of the team takes a 2-on-4 up top. Renegades ready to fight. fineokay with the ultimate in tow, but Nika providing the damage, and more importantly, the damage reduction. Judgment Tether turns that fight around. Dardez gets popped by a card and a shot from Panda.
Didn't have Vegas, didn't have the jump to get away. Rival looked to be a little too aggressive as Arkkyl dies very quickly, but Renegade still able to hold on.
Renegades, I think, needed to be more aggressive there. They had a moment where Team Rival had spent everything, could have been chased down. Now, they take the 4-on-4. Arkkyl and Dardez down, two very powerful characters. Can Renegades play D without their mid lane hunter? Cherryo in trouble, finds a retreat on the backside. And again, Judgment Tether from Nika coming in clutch. Damage low. CaptainTwig's HP even further low. Renegades on the run now. Dashing, jumping in is Nika on top of PandaCat. Zoned out by the solo lane and killed just as well. Double kill for Osiris.
They're not done yet. Cataclysm into the knockup, trying to get Cherryo in position for the 1v2. Two separate 2v1s. Renegades should be able to get both of these kills.
fineokay will be a little bit more tanky. If Cherryo can find some consistent basic attacks, he takes him down, but it's a little too long, and Arkkyl will escape.
Oh no, they both got away, but that's okay.
That's not that big of a deal, I think. I think I'm okay with that totally.
Yeah, Renegades still got the better end of that trade. They hold on to their left side Phoenix, but there might have bit off more than they could chew because Arkyl's alive.
And cuts Cherryo down to half HP, but with the ultimate on cooldown, he's slowed and stunned and outgunned. Cherryo evens things up. 8-all. Renegades trailing by only 2,000 gold. Great defense and a total retreat.
And the shield from iRaffer during the crushing wave. Cherryo was the target, but his build a little tanky there, having Blackthorn's hammer and shield of regrowth. Plenty of health. You had a gap shield on top of that. Cherryo's not going to go down anytime soon, and the crushing wave from Arkkyl too ambitious yet again.
After all is said and done, 24.5, and Team Rival lead by 2,000. That said, the wind in the sails of Renegades for sure. They're absolutely ready to kind of bang. Helmet to helmet. Where is the target? Fire Giant not up for another minute. So do you sit on your hands and wait for that Fire Giant and fight around it? Do you fight around this Gold Fury right now? Or do you push a tower? Team Rival looking like they want to do the second option. PolarBearMike and Fino looking for the zone. CaptainTwig and Panda. Silly damage. And the
yeah.
Gold Fury pushes Rival's lead up to about 4,000.
5 items deep for PandaCat, so that Gold Fury goes down very quickly. Renegades are fine with that. If they defended left side Phoenix through all that shenanigans, they can deal with Rival still getting that objective. As long as they have the vision control around the Fire Giant, they need to utilize their single target damage of Cherryo and Nika to isolate Arkkyl away from this team fight. fineokay has also been a little bit of an issue with his tankiness.
Sure.
So if you can get him in combat before the blink, that's something Renegades are looking for.
Nobody has any ward vision around this Fire Giant. PolarBearMike changes that. Caught on a ward by Renegades.
Interesting build from Nika as well, going for Hide of the Urchin. I like it, actually, because at this point in the game, he's going to be having 42 protections of each with those 4 stacks. Still missing a little bit more there, 9 total protections once he gets 3 more. And then once that item gets evolved, getting that health shield out of combat helps you re-engage.
Right now the team's dancing around the Fire Giant. Jungler's more positioned towards the middle lane, so the 4-on-4 in full around FG. Jungler's trading position, both of them looking for the flank. Cherryo spotted out by Fino, and the counter rotation from CaptainTwig. Expect this little roundabout cuckoo clock motion for a while.
Oh, yeah.
As the 4-on-4 is really more solidified.
Important to try to pop these Mad Guys close. CaptainTwigs will go down for a little bit. Taking a lot of damage, though.
Cherryo's going to take CaptainTwig to the sky. The ultimate will bring him down. Here comes help for the rest. Dardez finishes what CaptainTwig already started. Down he goes. 5-on-4 here. PolarBearMike absorbs a lot of what Renegades intended for the rest of the team. Great job from the support. Renegades jumping forward. Ultimate from Nika. Jump forward from Dardez. Funball's going to be caught, but fineokay goes down first. 10 for Renegades. It's a 5-on-3. Renegades take their victory, put it in their pocket, and now they look towards likely the Pyro.
No, definitely Fire Giant.
I like
Ignore
this
the baby
good,
FG.
good,
Go
good,
for the big
good.
daddy one, honestly. Despite the 1v1 mental battle of Cherryo versus CaptainTwig, I think Nika was an important factor there to get that second kill, connecting those max range slows onto fineokay. He couldn't get out of that one, and this might be a mental thing now for fineokay where he needs to start thinking about getting the winged blade over maybe the Dynasty Plate helmet or selling the boots, picking up that speed potion to get the winged blade. Those slows, so impactful for fineokay.
Great swing here for Renegades, tied up at 27. Fire Giant in the wings for Renegades, so perhaps a slight lead for them. And I'm glad you mentioned Nika's name here, Anatoly. 4-1-4. Actually, the slash line is telling a story as well. Usually, with the type of gameplay I've seen out of Nika, you wind up being like 1-1-7, and you just the impact is elsewhere. But Nika has been on fire.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Twig, on the opposite end, he has not been. In that 1v1, he was about to win it. There was a method to the madness from Twig, but he didn't take into consideration the turnaround potential from Cherryo getting to the sky and having his teammates come on top of him. And now historically, in this jungle matchup of Twig versus Cherryo, they've played 49 games, including the last one.
Sure.
Twig getting the better end of that one with a 69.3% win rate, and maybe that's why he felt confident to go in against Cherryo because of that percentage.
I'm really looking towards Renegades and how they're going to execute here, because we've seen them on their defensive side with this composition a lot. I don't think it's going to be a really big change to see them aggressive, because we've seen the chase down. It's been a lot of fun. But I was mentioning Nika earlier. Judgment Tether has turned these fights around. He's grabbing 4 players with Judgment Tether on the regular while Team Rival's pushing in. I mean, the amount of work that this Osiris is doing. I mentioned yesterday how Osiris can sometimes be a nothing character and impact the team 0 ways if you're not really getting the slows on multiple targets and hitting those multiplayer Judgment Tethers. Nika is playing it at the top of its ceiling right now.
Cherryo missing out on that ultimate. Twig gonna be forced to use that 9 turns blessing to turn it around. Will root out Nika. No real follow-up as Arkkyl not in range. Funballer, though, isolated, forced to use relics.
Again, a little bit out of position here is the carry, and Renegades aren't ready to answer. Or are they? There comes the support iRaffer jumping in. Nika again by himself. Sanctified Field off the mark, but there's PolarBearMike getting jumped on by the jungle, the support, and the solo lane. Arkkyl goes down first. PandaCat will eat it second. fineokay pops the ultimate, but the chase is on. Renegade gets him. Double kill for Nika on the Osiris.
That's it.
PolarBearMike surrounded, and Funballer takes another kill. And again, Renegades take another game.
You can't overextend against Renegades. They will punish you at the drop of a hat. Twig, a little bit too far out of position, needed to get bailed by his teammates. Renegades up 2-0.
You know, I started talking about that one saying Funballer is out of position and the team won't be able to help him. Renegades, I'm sorry, I didn't get the memo that you're always able to help your teammates. That looked like they were way too far out of position, but Renegades still wind up being able to help out.
It just doesn't seem that Rival have an answer towards that, right? Because it may look like, oh, it's a mage that doesn't have an escape. Let's go jump on top of him. But then you got Geb support for iRaffer, the shield coming in clutch, the shell as well. It just doesn't seem that Rival's aggression seems to be clicking.
Tough stuff there coming out for Team Rival. I will say, though, 2 games down, a lot of times this is a tough sweep. This is Rival are able to fight in. This is obviously a clash of the Titans for sure. But watching what Renegades have been able to do time and time again, both in the draft phase and on the battlefield, is nothing short of spectacular.
And keep in mind, phase 1, when these two teams faced off against each other, it was week 12, around mid of June, where Rival got a 3-0 clean sweep. And now in phase 2, it could be the opposite now.
Renegades don't have short memories. They remembered that, and they're certainly thinking about it. We'll see if they get their own 3-0 after this.
INAP, powering the control room for the SMITE Pro League. Welcome back to the SPL. Rival look better in their second attempt here on Renegades, but it's Renegades who come away 2-0 and now put Rival on the clock to try and keep this set moving. I do want to let you all know, though, out there, you can pick up that spooky squad chest right now. Cupid and Kubakarn are in there.
Boom!
That's one of the better skins in the game. That freaks me out for sure.
That's spooky.
Let's go to the wide
Get
now
it?
since this guy's over here.
Tom, I got Tom so bad yesterday with that. He jumped, he like recoiled back. You did a much better job than him for what it's worth.
Tom's good, a lot better at me than other things, and I'll take this one small thing over Tom. That's fine with me.
That was nice and spooky. Get your spooky chests.
Yes, and especially if you're going to be playing Kubakarn and or Cupid, you're going to want those. But now we can break down this last game here from Rival. Like I was saying, this was better for them, but there were still some points to me where I was scratching my head. The left side Phoenix Siege seemed to rush. There was the fight around the red buff where Arkkyl goes in by himself against 4. I mean, I need your breakdown on this.
Yeah, I mean, Rival looked a lot better than I thought they would. I think that Renegades got off to a pretty decent start. Dardez doing Dardez stuff on the Anhur. And then Rival has that great fight by Gold Fury,
right,
where I start to feel like this is going to really happen for them. I mean, this fight in particular, I believe, is where we see the huge ultimate from Funballer kind of turning around a little bit. Or no, that's a little bit later on. But either way, Rival got off to a pretty good start. But ultimately, this is the one I was talking about, where Funballer hits this huge Sanctified Field, ends up setting up Dardez for an easy Desert Fury kill through this wall. And this is where you start to feel like, okay, maybe this composition is going to be too good for Renegades. Then the Gold Fury fight happens. And PandaCat, by the way, on the Jing mid, played amazingly. I mean, he really, really did bring a lot to these team fights. In this team fight in particular, he does a ton of damage. And now Rival's in the driver's seat. They go from here to straight to fire, and they end up in the lead. But then this fight on the right side, Phoenix, happens, and Arkkyl's beads are down for 2 seconds when that happens, and he gets one shot off the Cataclysm. And PBM, he used that through this guy's ultimate to teleport in. He kind of bluffs Funballer to force a Sanctified Field. It's a good idea in theory, but why not wait 5 seconds? You know, why not give yourself a little bit of time? I know Cherryo was on the right-hand side, and that's why they felt like they had to push it, but he was going to get back for that anyways. I really feel like that was just a little bit of lack of patience. And then Cherryo makes this play in the mid lane, and this just wins Renegades the game. Landing this ultimate ends it. I mean, look at the boys coming in to help out on CaptainTwig. That play in mid really is what ends the game.
The rest of the Renegade squad rolling up. So Rival, I think, did show us some really strong fights. Like you said, the fight that PandaCat had in the Jing after they actually lost that Gold Fury, I think Dardez got him at the Desert Fury, was huge for them, and they were able to go get FG and do a lot of good stuff off the back of it. But there's just still been, for me, some kind of small moments that are uncharacteristic of Rival. I've never described them as head-scratching. I mean, maybe not entirely uncharacteristic. Sometimes when they're far ahead, they'll make those kind of plays where they get ahead and they make individual kind of hero plays for no real reason. But I've never seen it from them in contested big matches like this. That's what's kind of got me a bit worried about them for the rest of this set.
Yeah, I mean, I think the ideas are still there. Overall, that is a much closer game than I thought it was going to be. I really thought that Renegades was going to stomp it out because of how good that picks and bans phase was for them. So that is an encouraging sign for Rival fans. But I agree. I mean, the lack of patience is the big thing that I've noticed. They just don't seem patient to me right now. And Renegades are playing very, very slowly when necessary. They're hitting the gas when they need to, but they're playing well as a unit. This team synergy is just absurd. I mean, Renegades are all they've got the true hive mind going on right now. You know, they are working together as a true unit.
And whenever we talk to Renegades about what it is that separates this team from a lot of the other teams, why they think they're so successful, that's exactly what they say, man. Is that they have complete trust in one another. I talked to Raffer, he said, I know what Dardez is going to do before Dardez knows sometimes. That's the kind of level at which that this team is connecting on right now, and it makes them really tough to beat, because I thought that was Rival's thing. Back in Phase 1, I said they were team fighting better than anyone. Now it's Renegades.
Renegades are just the best team right now, and that and that encompasses everything. They are the best team in the SPL right now, but they are the best as a group of 5 men playing together. I mean, they play great.
And now that's what Rival needs to get back to, is the same sort of like almost swagger and confidence that you see Renegades play with. Rival had that working for them. They would just make these calls to take Gold Furies when you weren't expecting them. They would start fights and find these picks that you weren't prepared for. It's Renegades doing that to Rival here now, and it looks to me like it has them a bit out of sorts. They've got to get back to playing their own game if they can here up against Renegades, and try not to, I guess, play with their cards face up.
So now Renegades are in the first pick slot for the first game all series. It's been a Rival first pick up until this point. Right. And I don't mind it. I mean, Renegades are getting a priority pick no matter what as of late, so you may as well give them one so that Rival can end up getting 2. But I really do think the Renegades are the hardest team to pick and ban against right now. I don't know how you take them out of games. They do so many things so well and have so many different play styles built in, and it's never a surprise. You know, it's never like, oh man, I can't believe Renegades picked that, or I can't believe they put this there. It's just that you exchange out pieces. You're trying to all these different combinations and permutations of compositions where you take gods away. You know, what is the linchpin for this composition? And I think it really does come down to the teamwork, and you can't ban that.
Yes, they'll be able to get it done with so many different picks, it feels like, and Renegades willing to value a lot of different stuff. The Zhong getting banned out here, as we said, Renegades not been valuing this, perhaps worried that a Rival would take it if they had those top 2 picks kind of back-to-back, so they're the ones banning this one out, along with PBM's Horus, not letting him pilot that one anymore either.
Wonder if there's going to be a Thoth first pick here for Renegades. I think Rival's almost certainly going to end up taking it.
Oh, that's right, Khepri wasn't banned.
Open. Yep, so Khepri is first pick.
That's huge.
I feel like if I'm a Rival here, I'm probably going Anhur Thoth, and I'm just trying to be Renegades light in this game. You just got to keep it out of their hands. It is just such a potent combination for them. You mess with that long lane. Athena awfully early here for Rival, but it is a traditional counter pick against Khepri. AoE CC is what you want against Khepri because you want to grab him and your target and confound one of the best at that. But I am shocked that Rival is willing to give Funballer this Thoth again.
Yes, and they will happily pick it to pair alongside this Khepri. On Rival's side, do you think they have to start thinking about trying to factor in and execute somewhere to this composition, Achilles or Alplong or Thanatos, something like that? Or are there enough other ways you can try and slow down this Khepri that you don't have to kind of try and shoehorn one in?
No, I don't think you have to shoehorn it. I mean, fineokay had one of the best Achilles plays we've ever seen with the 4 executes earlier in the year, so we know he can play it. I wouldn't be upset to see Rival take it, but I don't think it's an absolute necessity. I don't think they're making a huge mistake if they don't go for it.
King Arthur and, of course, the Thoth come through. So these are 3 priority picks, almost blind picks that Renegades would have taken, it felt like, for Funballer, Nika, and for iRaffer. But this is the
really
Ares that's been getting banned away all set here from Team Rival, locked
really
in with the
good.
3rd slot.
I love this, actually. This is the first picks in ban phase where I feel like Rival really dictated the pace and ends up getting exactly what they want. Normally you want to save Ares for 9th or 10th or something like that, but when you have it against these 3 picks already, you've got to love your odds. The Khepri can mess with you. You know, you get Thoth beads down, you blink ultim with Ares, then the Khepri ultimate's there. It feels a little bit bad, but you've got a great matchup against the Khepri, I think. You've got great potential here for Twig to just hard carry this game by himself.
Olorun banned away by Renegades. A nice call not to let this one come through here again. The Naja banned away by Rival, take an eye towards Cherryo, but what do you do about Dardez here in this spot? Clearly he'll play like a Xbalanque, you know, if he has to or something like that, so you already have the Anhur. They're instead going to go with the Chiron, I assume, against all this somewhat predictable CC.
Yep, beautiful. Love that ban by Rival. It just makes so much sense against their composition. I like both of these bans overall. Naja can get Ares ulted, but then take himself out of the fight with one of the members of your team at the same time and really turn the tides of that engagement. So I like the way that Rival banned here in the 2nd phase.
I do also think this Chronos ban was a good one here from Renegades. It does mean that Arkkyl's going to be going down to Hou Yi, like we said. If he can't play Chronos, it's going to be physical hunters, it feels like, from him most of the time, despite the Habwa we saw last game. As Artemis being hovered here by Renegades, and another one that's surprising, man. If they do lock this in, they have not just yet, that's another element that I think makes this team so hard to try and pick a ban against.
I mean, you know it's going to be a hunter, and it will be the Artemis.
Wow.
Now, normally Artemis against Anhur is one of the worst matchups you can have as the Artemis player. It's so difficult to really go for. But in the mid lane, you're going to have so many more people there that I don't think that weakness really hurts you quite as much. You need on-demand CC immunity as often as possible against Ares, Athena, Anhur in the 3v3.
Sure.
And Artemis is one of those characters.
A great response, though, is this Kuzenbo. If this does get locked in here for Rival, I imagine for fineokay over in that long lane, Artemis is going to be doing more to her than to the Kuzenbo if this guy's at the front line of the fights. But I think we kind of undersell how strong Caledonian Boar is amongst just all of the Hunter ultimates that are out there. It's such a powerful ability for this Artemis in terms of adding AoE control, which they actually don't have a ton of on this draft. I think I'm more and more loving this Artemis pick for Renegades.
It has a lot of potential. I agree with you there, but if Rival's able to get it behind early, I think it could really, really struggle. It's going to be on Cherryo on this Ratatoskr to make sure that Dardez is able to stay safe, but the Khepri's there to pocket you, basically, and keep you alive. I agree. I think there is a lot of potential for this Artemis selection.
Actually, a nuts pick the more I think about it in that spot.
I think Jorm is going to be a key factor in this game. If fineokay can be the initiator and get that ultimate off consistently and use it to reposition in fights, it can be very strong against a character like Artemis that has a tough time getting away.
Yeah.
But if you're on the back foot and Artemis gets to attack you, then I don't know how the Jormungandr gets away. I think that crit is still one of the best things that you can do against Jorm.
Yes.
We might not see that sort of build for Artemis. It's not built into the kit like it used to be, but I still think it's a possibility.
Things like Fail Not sound pretty good to me when you want some cooldown for more boards. Let's see how it ends up working here. Renegades versus Rival, Game 3.
I mean, I'm always a fan of Fail Not. I come out here, try not to fail. How about you, Toli?
That's all we can hope for at the end of the day.
I'll be here all
As a
week,
caster.
folks. I'll be here all week. Tom Battinger and Anatoly Alexeyev bringing you the business, otherwise known as F. Dot. And then, of course, NA cameraman. That is Doug LeBlanc, the best in the business, if I may. And as we get ready for what could be the last game of this set,
Could be.
Team Rival certainly trying to stand up and say no. Renegades, again, giving us something different with the old Artemis mid.
Yeah, I like it. Taking a shot at PandaCat, I guess, way back when he would always play that god. But it was in the long lane, back for the enemy days.
The Blink Artemis.
One of his go-tos. Oh, man. Remember Ristarian?
Yes, why?
That was his pick.
was like, why would you say Mysteria?
Yeah, that was his pick, the Artemis mid with the traps. Because back then, those little corridors between left and mid camps were much smaller.
Yep.
So you could just put 2 traps, and like somebody is going to hit one of those traps, so you cover that angle. But in this matchup, Artemis, I think the damage from that Tuskies is going to do quite a bit once it starts bouncing around, especially when you know there's going to be the likes of PBM dashing at you, CaptainTwig on the Blink Ares.
You know, it's interesting. Middle lane, we'll discuss in a moment as the blue buff gets invaded successfully.
Yeah.
fineokay picks it up.
PBM actually was harassing so long onto Cherryo that he uses the Sunder before the dash to get that extra damage amplification. He finally is living up to the tweet. He's following Cherryo every single time.
Which definitely bothers Cherryo. I'm just putting that out there. Middle lane seems like the safest place on the map, the same way, like, skydiving is the safest place you can be, in that you have like all these harnesses and an instructor, but it's a wildly dangerous environment. Mid lane is a wildly dangerous environment, but you've always have the support hanging out, the jungler hanging out, somebody's always within a shouting distance. And so an unsafe pick like an Artemis, flanked by 2 players in the middle, all of a sudden becomes very different feeling because of the people that are kind of there to hold you. Cherryo goes for an invade, dodges a stun, beats a taunting, avoids the collapse from Team Rival. You want to talk about being a back camp bandit? Shout out to RollQ, make sure to check it out. That's exactly what Cherryo does. It gets out of there, no problem.
Oh, the cripple is going to be so annoying. iRaffer, he can't abduct away.
Nah, he's gone. There's beautiful play. CaptainTwig, chain, and PandaCat. I think big play by PandaCat. Not only does he get the knock-up in the direction that he needs to, but he doesn't impale immediately. He waits for a couple of steps, because if PandaCat impales from that distance, iRaffer doesn't hit a wall, doesn't get stunned, likely doesn't die. But because he hits the wall, he gets stunned and is able to get away with it.
PBM using that Athena reach passive through the wall to stop Cherryo's back. The backing animation under your character model is pretty wide, so you can actually see it around corners if you're going to back right there under the tier 2 tower. And like you were mentioning about PandaCat's mechanics there, he also managed to squeeze in a basic attack to proc that enfeeble passive, reducing the physical protections by 20.
iRaffer drags one. He's going to surround PBM as well, and Dardez is here with some damage. No ultimate, only level 3. King Arthur getting away. CaptainTwig doesn't have the range. iRaffer will fall as he protects his solo laner. It's a 1 for none. Great look there for Team Rival, as they've got 2 kills above Renegades. 1,500 in the lead already.
Very important for Twig to get off to this start on the Ares, utilizing that cripple, but Nika's back with the teleport, looking for PBM.
And finding him. Nice and easy. Renegades put one up. PolarBearMike just a little bit too low, a little bit too far, a little bit too long. You see that loop-de-loop by Cherryo?
That was cute. He's looking for any farm he can get. He doesn't have access to much, and if he gets crippled, he's pretty much dead to rice. Still cooldown on his bees for another 40 seconds, and Twig, knowing that, having that timer, goes in.
There's the spin, but the damage from the change is going to be good enough. Cherryo falls down, and player cam says it all.
Nothing he could do. Blink Ares this early in the game. No through the Cosmos, no CC immunity. How are you going to get away from that one? Just can't. You have to land the stun and hope that he misses the second chain, because that was great accuracy from Twig.
PandaCat jumps away. iRaffer finds the root, and Dardez over the top as well. Renegades not expected to really be dancing this early on. Cherryo obviously can do so on the Ratatoskr. We know that there's some early game prominence there. But Dardez on the Artemis, absolutely not. This is not an early game character. A lot of the legacy late game characters have had their early game kind of lifted up by way of either balance, atomization, or otherwise. Artemis not really one of them. And so I'm not surprised that we're seeing Renegades down. Over 1,500, close to 2,000 gold down at 5 minutes. Probably a little bit more than Renegades bargained for. But there will be a rubber band back. My question to you, Anatoly, is when does Dardez, quote-unquote, come online?
Whenever he wants, honestly. He's basically keeping PBM in check is the goal for this Artemis mid. You can't dash against Artemis. You're going to get burst on into the cripple. Couple of items once Dardez completes is when he'll start melting through CaptainTwig on the Ares before he gets too many points in that bolster defense.
Cherryo baits CaptainTwig into a trap. Won't be able to find much off of it, though. So we're talking on the right side. Renegades looking for the blue buff one more time. Team Rival are here.
Oh no, poor Nika.
4 players. Down from the sky comes CaptainTwig, and Cherryo here going to be grabbed up as well. Nice job there from the Renegades jungler.
Looking for maybe the cleanup kill, but no, fineokay can't invest the tower dive and even forcing PandaCat. Oh wait, I was about to say poor Nika. I'm like, you know what? Actually, poor CaptainTwig, the turnaround there, Cherryo using that ultimate before the no escape.
And that's really, you know, what I was saying before about Renegades. They've got the buddy system in tow. You know, Cherryo was already in the air because the comment was called that the team was rotating to the right.
He dashed into Arkkyl? My man's is confident.
Funball has always been confident. This time,
Oh, that was his tower, okay.
the confidence goes ahead and bites against him. Arkkyl with the 1v1 here for Team Rival. You know, and I was just saying to another person off screen, and they agreed, so it's not just me being crazy. Arkkyl has been kind of quiet for a couple of weeks. He has not been the top hunter like we've noticed. Team Rival looking to make a play here. iRaffer grabbed and chained with no dash available. The triple online and iRaffer offline. Kill number 5 for Team Rival. Conversation back to the carry role. Arkyl's been kind of sleepy. I haven't really seen the impact from him as of late, but that 1v1, I know Arkyl's here. I know he's engaged. I'm really eager to see how this Hou-Yi works out later on in teamfight time.
Yeah, I am too, actually. He loves the Hou-Yi. He's actually played it quite a bit of time, so I'm expecting this kind of confidence to just resume from the French hunter. He likes to go aggressive when he gets challenged. Remember that matchup with SK Zatman back in phase 1?
Yep.
After dying to the Morgan, he's like, you know what? Never again. He plays the Anhur. He really punishes out Zatman. So this is another idea where the Hou-Yi has good mechanics to be able to avoid some shots from Funballer with the dive bomb. Actually, dive bombs, I believe, past Funballer's archers, which is why he was facing the opposite direction of the lane, and Funballer having to dash towards his tower and towards the last basic attack that was being shot by Arkkyl.
Very aggressive play there by Arkkyl, digging level 10 here versus Funball's level 8. So about a level and a half in the lead for Team Rival's carry right now. And about 2,000 gold, 2,500. The lead just keeps growing here for Team Rival. A very attractive situation for them at the moment. As I said, they are on elimination point. So Rival need to win this game in order to keep this match alive. Renegades obviously one win away from ending it all. So Rival have to pull all the stops out. That's what they're doing here. Arkkyl, a clutch player for sure. And I think bringing it out right now.
And this is a way that you can really judge a team's talent, not by how they win games, but how they don't mentally check out from these best of 5 longer sets. And against Renegades, that's been undefeated thus far in phase 2. A good showing from Rival here in this game 3, utilizing this aggressive Ares consistently throughout 2, 1, and 2. A part of 80% of his team's kills. Could be more if he catches out Cherryo.
At this point, he's just got to provide the poke. CaptainTwig can bring you down from 30 to 0 pretty much. But from 100, you need a couple of rotations of those spells, and that's something that Cherryo probably has the advantage on by way of basic attack.
And it's only going to get worse now because Twig is only level 7. 4 points to the chains. Not that 5th one that he'll get access to at level 9. No penetration available quite yet either. Wouldn't be surprised to see Spear of Magus for him to synergize with all that damage over time.
The Jade Crown, very nice, of course. Not only do you have the stats on the item, but an extra 30 power. Ares gets power for his aura items. So you see usually the Jade into a Void Stone, or this is likely to be a Witchblade. Yep. Just the Artemis going to warrant the Witchblade? The other stats?
The other sure, stats I guess so. Yeah, a little bit of movement speed and health is never a bad thing either.
Agreed. And so with that, of course, could be Relic Dagger, a number of other options.
That's true, too. Relic Dagger could be another one.
But the first 2 items, if they are, usually we see the first 2 aura items, right? And so with that in mind, that's why I went to the
a free 40 power is never a bad thing for Twig. Gonna force out a defensive ultimate, seeing that Defender of Olympus.
Here comes Cherryo in the sky as well, iRaffer. the right side, and Cherryo jumps to the left. PolarBearMike with a taunt, and there's all these team rival players. Cherryo gonna get pulled on in and stunned. There's help from Khepri, but wasn't help at all. The Anhur wall shows up, PandaCat gets one, and Fino will knock up. iRaffer alive, Nika on the left-hand side, double kill for PandaCat. And Nika gonna have to run away here. Team rival with the lead in their hands and then some.
I'm not sure as to why Cherryo lands on top of fineokay. Like, there was no reason for it, but landing in the mid lane is Arkkyl. That's a way you can abuse an Artemis.
Speed's gonna be used to avoid the boar, and Arkkyl gets exactly what he asked for. Just jumps in the lane, one cheeseburger please, and it's flipped up no problem. 8-2 as the Hunter finds his second kill of the contest.
By the way, Dardez was completely unfazed. I was looking at his player cam that whole time just to see his reaction. He was like, guess I'm dead here.
I mean, if you're gonna play an Artemis, I think you have to have some sort of acceptance of death. You have to just say, it's all gonna end at some point, and I'm okay with that. Because you're pushed up in the lane that far, you don't have a movement ability, you don't really have a direct, instantaneous crowd control. You gotta wait for Tusky. The trap is rough to use right off the bat. That's a dangerous character to be pushed up that far. I would not expect, oh, I'm so surprised I've died with an Artemis at their tower line. What a surprise.
I think I was just kind of expecting something out of Dardez, but he's been kind of just stoic by nature.
Dardez is definitely Dardez is a lizard person.
What?
He's cold-blooded.
Okay. Does he live in a sewer, Tom?
He's a reptilian. iRaffer gonna be taunted up and then immediately punished with a nice little stun here. Cherryo pulled in one more time. iRaffer saves him one more time. This time different. PandaCat doesn't find the double kill off the back end.
But still investing 2 for 2 ultimates there. Solely not much to speak of between this matchup. And seeing how Arkkyl was not quiet in the last game, or rather too quiet on the last game, Habwa, he's definitely turned it around now on this Hou Yi, killing out Funballer, killing out Dardez, the 2 carries that Renegades heavily rely on in the late game.
In no world am I going to sit here and tell you that Arkkyl can't play the mages. But I'm also going to tell you, give him a damn Hunter.
Yeah. I miss him playing Rom.
I do as well. I do as well. I do think that it's a very tough character to play right now. It doesn't really, it's tough at the moment. But, I think that there are some players that just have to say, meta be damned, I do what I do. And Arkyl's the guy. Arkkyl will win you games playing Hunter in the long lane. I don't care what year it is. It'll happen. Gold's Fury brought down to 20%, 25, released by team rival. Cherryo blown up. Woof.
That was a lot of damage very quickly there. Really unfortunate for Cherryo. They didn't have anything available to him. iRaffer doesn't have Scarab's blessing. He's like, I guess you're just dead, mate.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
trying to build into defense, Cherryo with Arkkyl gonna look for the shifter shield as well. iRaffer, Defenders of Olympus, no man's land with a blink CaptainTwig.
I love that play from Team Rival because they have kind of punished Renegades' plan of attack that they had in game number 1. Rival able to get the gold here off the kill, and will push their lead even more so. Renegades' iRaffer teams, let's say, have historically found victories by way of, look at me, I'm in trouble. And then my team shows up and makes you look dumb, right? That's iRaffer's kind of MO from way back when. And if we watch the games, watch the tape back, that's what Renegades do largely. That's how they won last match. Funball, look at me, help, I'm lost and I need help. And then his team provides the recovery option.
There's no kill potential here. Yeah. If he tries to land on PandaCat, PandaCat jumps up and down and turns it around.
Team Rival have invested in the burst damage so that the second iRaffer is out of position, he dies. No time for Renegades to really react and get there. And I think that acknowledgement is really what's allowed Rival to kind of take control of this, because now they're getting picks and they're taking less time to kill the pigs, which means there's less time for Renegades to get there, which means there's less time for Renegades to have the 5-on-5 fights that they want.
And they're just winning in every matchup. It's also the Soul Lane matchup. 8 different totem of coups, or 8 is what separates these
Right.
two teams. Rival with that is 1,000 gold ahead just from that objective alone. A great zoning from PBM, so that way they don't have that repeat of game 1 when Funballer stole that Gold Fury with the final judgment, recognizing that they still secured the objective. They're killing out the immobile mid hunter twice now, and that's a big threat is this Artemis if she gets online. If the Thoth also gets to the late game form, you don't want to deal with 4 or 5 item deep final judgment ripping through corridors.
Well, 15 minutes in, Team Rival have definitely had a nice look here in game number 3. Game number 1 and 2 did not go their direction, but game number 3, anything but the opposite way. 6,000 gold in the lead and a 9-kill lead as well, just to illustrate the point. Rival came out of the gate swinging by 3 minutes. They were up 1,500 to 2,000 gold, and now, like I said, 15-16 in, they're up 6K. Nika under the tower, ulted by Arkkyl, and hit by CaptainTwig. Chained up, pulled on.
Oh, that was a very late purification beast. I think he was mid-cast.
Now here on the left side, PolarBearMike trying to dash away. PandaCat, again, unleashes the ultimate. Team Rival looking to re-engage on top of Renegades. Dardez drops the ultimate. Too little, too late. iRaffer again saves the carry.
Okay, this is a different kind of escape route. I guess iRaffer and Dardez are going for a little bit of a hike now. Great double time from PBM. He gets the double with a shield wall.
That's what you do, man. PolarBearMike just showing why he's one of the top supports in the league. Able to grab the player, no problem. Team Rival now 7 times the amount of kills as the Renegades, and they walk directly across the street. There's not an eyeball on the rear view. It's all about the fire giant.
But Funballer has the final judgment. Nika is alive. He could potentially teleport. He's trying to get there a little bit on the backhand side. Can he steal it?
He can. There's the dash in. Rival outside. The swing around from Nika. Can't get the kill. Cherryo falls down. Rival turn and burn. Arkkyl double kill for the Frenchman. And PolarBearMike finds kill at number 4. The duo lane is 10, 1, and 13. Team Rival just dummy out of control here in game number 3.
Honestly, if I'm Renegades, I'm already talking about this next game because this is looking like an insurmountable lead against Rival. And in the best of 5 meta, it's best to prepare for that. The longer the time that you have, like you're not defending tier 2s, the tier 1s as well. You're like split pushing casually as iRaffer and Dardez are doing and thinking about, all right, game number 4 is coming around the corner. How can we adjust? Do we still early pick this Khepri King Arthur when Ares is on the table? And honestly, I'm looking at this Ares pick if I'm Renegades.
I'm absolutely looking at the Ares pick. 2-1 and 11 here for CaptainTwig. He has been fantastic. Early game setup, early game damage, mid game just everything. And now here as we transition into the later stages of the game, surprisingly still bringing damage. A lot of times the jungle Guardians kind of fall off in the damage department. He's right there in the middle of the player charts, but the damage is always relevant, and that's a big deal.
Movement speed from
Outside of
Scarab's
this.
Blessing. Not going to revive from it, obviously, but that is going to get him out, I guess. CaptainTwig not wanting to invest the time to chase that kill. Better off securing the objectives.
Primal Fury about to show up. Another great look for Team Rival, as they'll get it as soon as it spawns here. And I'm with you, Anatoly. I think Renegades are already looking towards game number 4. Rare is it that we see a surrender vote actually show up,
Yeah,
because the players want to make use of the time in the game for sure.
I definitely don't want to see a surrender vote because there still might be a glimmer of hope defense-wise if Funballer hits the final judgment of all time.
It's also incredibly difficult just to siege into a Thoth to begin with.
Sure. But with this kind of level and experience, it becomes a little bit easier. So I'm still expecting Rival to, get all these towers before going for the Phoenixes, build like almost a 20,000 gold lead from those towers, and then really start, whittling Renegades down, starving them of farm, because you can't even leave your base if you're Renegades. You're just playing defense the whole time.
That's one of the big deals about this lead for Team Rival, is that they've achieved it without really taking the towers. that's a big deal because of the fact that you just have all this money in the bank. All the lead that Rival has been able to obtain so far has been by way of kills, by way of objectives in the jungle, big objectives and little objectives alike. So when it comes time to actually take these towers on the left side, I mean, this is just pure money that you're able to launch yourself into the stratosphere with. And like you said, Totally, it's a 15,000 plus gold lead.
It's looking really clean for Rival, and they're interested in not spending their gold in hand after securing those last 2 towers on the left side, trying to use the last remaining 50 seconds of their Fire Giant buff on the first left side Phoenix.
Probably the right call. CaptainTwig here. fineokay trailing. She crosses the mid lane. Leading the charge is CaptainTwig, blinking on in and grabbing 2 and getting 2 sets of beads. Cherryo in the sky, looking in forward. CaptainTwig looking at Dardez. Aegis is good, but the carry gets jumped on, and fineokay puts a dot on that one. Nika answers back, but he's the only one to do so, as Arkkyl finds another one. And 3 players in Renegades jerseys are on the bench. Rival walking to the throne room. Cherryo and Funballer are here, Totally, and Funball is going to be targeted out first and foremost. Team Rival, low. Cherryo lower. And with only Funball standing, this looks like Rivals to take home. 50% on the Titan. Jumping in is PandaCat, absorbing some of the damage. Funball trying to find the shot, finds one, but the pools are too big, and fineokay takes it. It's 2-1.
They really put on a clinic against Renegades, 22-4, not even 21 minutes into the game, as Rival are still alive in this best-of-5 set.
Still alive is putting it lightly, Tully. This is like, you know, the EMTs show up looking for a body, and instead somebody's on the dance floor just going out. I mean, this is Rival waking up, ready to go, ready to fight. This was not a sleepy match like we saw 1 and 2. This was not anything but the top level of competition. I loved this performance from Team Rival.
The early game presence of PBM on the Athena, Twig on the Ares, into fineokay's Jormungandr is what really sealed the deal. I love the way Rival are able to adjust mentally from going down 0-2 to start.
Like Tully said, we were down in a hole at first. Now, we've got a series. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with the Pro League.
Skillshot, the official production partner of the SMITE Pro League. Welcome back to the SMITE Pro League, and you just saw it there on your screen. Hi-Res Expo coming up in November is about more than just the esports that's happening there, though you should definitely check that out. Cosplay, there's free-to-play section. You can try games sometimes before other people. There's a ton of cool stuff that happens. You're going to want to make sure that you're there. HiResExpo.com to pick up those tickets. Now, unfortunately, Ryan Agro-Bailey, the man right next to me, is going to be there, but I think you should go anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be a lot more people than me. Statistically, the chances of you spending significant time with me there is fairly low.
Yeah,
unless
thank goodness for that, too.
I mean, you know, you'll probably, I'll be walking around. You can say hi and then, like, see which direction I'm going and then turn the other way. You should be pretty safe.
Yeah, that's right. If you do find out where I am, though, I'll be hanging out to do those Olorun auto attacks with you. And hang out for a little bit.
How long? What's the minimum amount of time you're going to do those?
Oh, you mean like number of people who will get that to happen from me?
I'm saying if I'm Joe Stevens and I walk up to you and I say, "Hey, Finch, let's do some like Olorun auto attacks right now."
I think
how
you
many?
Get 4 at a maximum for me is what I would say. Joe Stevens, very real name, by the way.
Okay.
4 is the most you'll get.
Imagine if there
two
is
rotations, yeah.
Imagine if there is a Smite fan named Joe Stevens who is thinking about going though, and they're like, "Wow, that was pretty nuts."
Yeah, that'll be great. I can't wait for too much now. People have Joe Stevens name tags, and I won't remember what it is they're referring to. But
correct.
That'll be great if you do. That'll be a deep cut. Rival versus Renegades, though, is the set that we're in. Believe it or not, there's pro-level matches that are happening. Rival bounced back in a huge way in this game, and it's not just because he's 9-0-5. Arkkyl popped this game.
He really did.
And we've been giving him a bit of a hard time lately because he can play polarizing like this. He said it before. Sometimes Arkkyl will play too aggressive and cost your team pressure when you should have had it, and sometimes he'll do this, where he's making early rotations, and he's soloing Funball in lane, and he's just getting ahead.
Huge game from Arkkyl, no doubt, but really, for me, it was all about CaptainTwig's Ares that opens the door for all this. It sets Dardez behind, it sets Cherryo really far behind, and it started early with the first blood. Twig just brought so much pressure. This Ares pick was just too clean, and Renegades, I think, in Game 4 are just going to pick and ban with this Ares pick a little bit more in mind. You normally expect to see it a little bit later in the draft. Twig sees the first 3 picks and goes, "Yeah, give me some of that." I mean, Twig, by the way, you heard it on Roll Q if you watched that, Smite Pro on YouTube if you want to. Sat down with a bunch of junglers, Twig being one of them. And he was saying how, you know, he's never going to be the world's best mechanical jungler. His Ares is nasty. I mean,
yeah.
He hits everything on this pick, I feel like. I feel like he's never missing those chains. He had the sick 181s on Sino yesterday. Mechanically, he is so comfortable on this god.
Yeah, clearly, and he put it on display here. This is Arkkyl playing with confidence, and it's the same confidence that sometimes gets him in trouble in lane, but when he's ahead, can be a godsend for the team. Arkkyl, recognizing Dardez, was maybe out of position in the middle lane by himself, and he's able to clean up an easy kill.
Easy double kill for Mike. I mean, double taunt, double kill.
It's my taunt, my kill, right?
That was the rules. You know him around here. Mike played so well on this Athena. I mean, to top 2 an Athena pick is not something we see a whole lot of these days, but Mike certainly made it worthy of that early selection.
Yes, very, very much impressive for the whole squad. And you're right, the Athena came out early, and they clearly were able to play around with confidence. I mean, this was, to me, Rival kind of showing that this draft that they went for, that I thought maybe gave up a little bit too much to Renegades here in this pick and ban phase. They could clearly make it work. It felt a little bit more like them playing their own style and getting off to a nice early lead. I'm not saying I'm guaranteed they can replicate that twice in a row now, but this is a set now. This is a real set here of SPL action, and Renegades are going to have to close out if they want this win.
Absolutely. You know, you cannot expect to come in and just have the other enemy team roll over, especially when they're a team as good as Rival. I really feel like their composition that game was just so much better. The Artemis, good in theory, got set behind early alongside Cherryo on that Ratatoskr. Those 2 picks, I mean, we talked so much about the 3v3 and how important that was. The 3v3 for Rival dominated here in Game 3, and they dominated the game. It just makes it that much easier when Arkkyl is having as great of a game as he had.
And so now that Renegades is making the adjustments, I guess sort of like if you're in the booth with these guys, what are you letting them know? I mean, do you go back to those first 2 games and go, listen, man, these are the we kind of clocked them in games 1 and 2. We made some small mistakes by letting this Ares through, and we can just clean this back up, or I guess how are you refocusing this Renegades team?
Well, I'm definitely going second pick, number 1, because second pick has had so much more success so far this set. And I'm just keeping in mind that we have to be ready for the Ares. I think we might have to prioritize Dardez a little bit earlier because he ended up getting a little bit something that he didn't love quite as much. I think I'm picking my at least 2 out of 3 of my mid 3v3 before the second ban phase, and that I think the Rat and the Artemis were just really ineffective that game for Renegades. I'm still top 2ing a Raffer pick almost certainly because we've been doing it all year and having a lot of success with it. And then I'll get Funballer or Nika priority pick, whichever one we need and whichever one we think is good. And then let's make sure that we get Dardez or Cherryo on a pick that's going to make sure we win the 3v3.
And that's why getting onto a 2-0 start is so big for you, because Renegades do have time to now adjust. It's Rival who can't afford to make even another mistake, for the rest of this set. They've got to be clean the entirety throughout it. Renegades could even drop this next game and then still have that game 5 to kind of fall back on. They have 2 games in a row of what Rival do well to make adjustments with. So I think that Renegades should be able to stay pretty cool and calm in that booth if I'm the one that's talking to that team. Definitely still in the driver's seat, but maybe just a little bit more, I think, cautious about what Rival can do for you.
Absolutely. I mean, this is a team that should be brimming with confidence still, despite losing that game. I mean, you just fall behind early. Those games snowball out of control pretty well. It felt like the perfect storm there a little bit against Renegades, right? I mean, they're losing the 3v3 in mid, and Arkkyl's really popping off in the long lane. Both of those things don't have to happen. I think that if either one of those happens in a regular game, Rival's still in a really good spot to win it. But when both happen, you just kind of throw your hands up and say, yeah, they had a good draft, they played it well, we didn't have a shot that game, let's just reset and get ready for the next one.
Especially when we're in this meta where so much of it can be a bit dictated by those first few minutes, depending on how the supports play in particular, especially someone like PolarBearMike. He likes to play aggressive in the early game. I heard Raffer talking about that himself. It wasn't necessarily PBM this time that did it, but it's kind of like you're willing to accept that maybe sometimes you could lose the game pretty early nowadays.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, that is just a possibility these days, where you can get your speed invaded, whatever, just have something go wrong, and then you end up losing that game. And then, like we said, Arkkyl's having a great one. So I think if you're Renegades, you're in a good spot here. Just kind of reset, take second pick. That's the big thing. As long as we're in second pick, I think we're in business.
Yes, I think you could feel pretty comfortable about that if that is where this team is here. So I think Rival has a really good chance to be able to come back into this game and try and stretch the series out a little bit longer than what we saw from them these last few times. I'm still pretty confident here in this team that we'll be able to make it all the way towards those 5 games, but we'll get to find out if they're able to make it towards those games in just a little while. Going to be a quick break. We'll show you all a couple of commercials, then we'll be right back. Welcome back to the SPL Fenton Aggro here, and as you can see, we are going right into the picks and bans. No need for you all to wait any longer, so thanks for the patience yet again. Renegades are the second pick here, as you requested. So
seems good. Yeah, we that's where all the teams have been winning, is in second pick, so it seems like a good spot to be.
Yeah, if you want to win this game, which I imagine both these teams do here. So I guess that means it's no game 5. That's a bummer, huh? No, obviously, it'll come down to how these teams actually end up playing once we get onto the battlefield. Rival are the ones banning away the Horus this time. I'm a bit surprised. PBM has shown quite an affection for this pick here recently, but they take it off the board.
I mean, they played so well with the Athena. I think you're leaving the door open. Seems like they might be okay with letting Raffer go back to the Khepri, or they could just ban that away right here. Renegade's likely going to ban AMC in the next one, so you know that you've got some flexibility with what you want to ban in this slot if you're Rival.
We've seen teams commit all of their bans to Raffer before, though, and it hasn't really worked out for them in the past. So I don't know if leaving the Khepri open for him works either, but I guess we'll get a chance to see that deviation. Ban away the Thoth from Funballer obviously makes some sense, even if they beat it last time. Rival might even just take the Khepri themselves this first.
Certainly could. I wouldn't mind seeing a Rival go with something like the Anhur right here, and then you go Anhur, Athena, and X, whatever you kind of want. They decide to not go back to the Athena, and they select the Khepri for themselves. So now Renegades are in a spot where Raffer is going to have to play something a little bit different than what he's played so far this set. Terra has been a big pick for him so far this year when a lot of his other gods are banned. Wouldn't be surprised to see him go there.
Interesting. Perhaps they're not going to be first picking the pick here for Raffer. They do it so often, though, that I have to imagine they will. But you don't want to let the Anhur slide through here if you're Renegades, because Rival will definitely pick that up. But it'll be the Osiris and the Najam. That's some flex. I don't think Raffer plays this a ton. Certainly that feels a bit more like Cherryo, but I mean, it could go either way.
Well, you don't need to worry about picking Raffer in the top 2 when Rival has first pick to support, because they almost certainly are not going to go with Terra solo or anything like that. So if that's the pick you're worried about, then you'll be A-okay. I like getting Osiris, Najah, 2 picks that Rival do have a propensity to go to, especially when they know that you are capable of playing it. So Renegades can now pick a god for Raffer in this slot and still not worry about more bans coming his way.
Yeah, to be honest, it's not the Raffer pick I was worried about. It's this Anhur that I thought they'd have wanted alongside one of these first 2 picks, but it looked like they were comfortable letting this one on through, and it's the King Arthur that comes in for fineokay as well. So Rival have a pretty decent front line established already, a ton of mid pressure, obviously. If they do end up giving this Anhur over to PandaCat, it might end up going over to Arkkyl, as he's shown some willingness to play this as well. And back to the Xbalanque for Dardez.
Yeah, I don't mind this. Like I said, I want to see 2 out of 3 of your picks in the top 3 be centered around that mid-core that is so important in this meta, and Renegades oblige me there. They get Naja Xbalanque, and so they've got a pretty decent fight in the early stages of the game with those 2 selections. Wouldn't be too surprised to see Rival still flex this on her over to the long lane, give it over to Arkkyl, try and let him continue the momentum that he got with that Hou Yi game.
At this point, Chronos has not been banned away, so it certainly is still an option for both of these squads as Hou Yi and Olorun are taken off the board. So Rival's certainly considering some of those mage ADCs. And I think if you're Rival, because this next pick does belong to Renegades, you might kind of have to ban this Chronos here.
Yep.
But no, not if Renegades do it, so there you go.
And there you go. They ban it themselves. I mean, right now Renegades have... You're probably looking at something weird coming at you out of Funballer, which is to be expected, to be honest with you. I mean, that's really his style.
Zhong.
Could be Zhong, certainly still open, and looks like it could be pretty potent. Don't love it against King Arthur because Excalibur's Wrath brings you up, just like you don't love it against Naja or Kumbhakarna for the exact same reasons, but I wouldn't mind seeing it here regardless for Funballer.
Renegades now have a decision to make as the Ares banned away by Rival themselves this time. This is the Ganesh, and you heard iRaffer talk about this in the interview. The Ganesh did not go great for them in their Phase 1 matchup, but I imagine this time iRaffer won't be on instant cast, so he won't have those troubles that he was played with last time.
Yeah, you're definitely checking it this time around, I think, as Poseidon locked in, could be in the jungle here for Twig, could be for PandaCat in mid.
Wow.
It's a matter of what they want to select for this last pick that'll kind of give us the tip, I imagine, on where that's going to go. And so it will be Poseidon jungle. I imagine it'll be on her long lane, Medusa mid, Poseidon jungle. And this is a good amount of CC, not a ton, but certainly enough that Renegades has to respect it. I do think this Ganesh pick could really give some trouble, though, to that mid 3v3, particularly to PBM on that Khepri. I think Ganesh is a pretty strong selection here for Renegades.
What if Funball takes this Naja and then they pick something else here for Cherryo in this slot? That'd be sick.
Yeah, that
go.
would be sick until the FBI comes, because it's illegal to take away Naja from Cherryo. It's illegal.
Knock, knock, by the way.
Yeah.
Aphrodite being hovered. And this is interesting. Aphrodite, I feel like, could potentially be going into the middle lane here for this squad.
Could be, actually. Flex Xbalanque over to Funballer. I kind of like that call, actually. You just want this Afro around Poseidon as much as you can, because it's all about using that Undying Love to shield yourself and a teammate from that Kraken at the same time. I think that would be a sick flex pick. It would mean the Aphrodite does end up getting less farm overall.
Right.
That's kind of the appeal of putting these mages in the long lane right now, is how much farm they get in the early stages of the game. But I think that would be a really, really cool flex here for Renegades. And we'll see. I mean, when was the last time Dardez played a mage? It has been literal months, I'm pretty sure.
It has been a while. Renegades always keep you guessing through their draft phase, but I just kind of like taking a healer 10th slot all the time anyway, because it gives so fewer options for your opposition to draft direct anti-heal up against you. I mean, Poseidon does apply it pretty well, so does Medusa, so even though they kind of okey-doke him with it, I think they still have a decent enough comp at dealing with it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Toxic Blade here for PandaCat in the mid lane, certainly a Divine Ruin for Twig somewhere in the build. You'll see a Pestilence or a Contagion out of Khepri or King Arthur, but outside of that, it isn't a ton of innate anti-heal. You know, you're not having a Bacchus or a Sobek or Kerberos that just kind of gives you that innate anti-heal in their kit.
Feels like there's going to be a lot of pressure on this Poseidon jungle, though. I have to hand it over to Tom, who I'm sure is thrilled.
Death stares here from both teams on their intros, and it will be the Afro on Funball. I was kind of rooting for the mid lane Aphrodite, but when it comes down to the weird stuff, Funball absolutely willing and ready to bring these mages into the play. I'm here with Finch. 10th pick healers are real nice, but totally off camera, you did bring up the PandaCat interaction.
That's true. Medusa would lacerate the dash. The third ability does have 50% anti-healing for 3 seconds, but then you're investing your movement escape for that anti-healing. Don't know if that's always going to be applied for every single healing situation, but that option still up in the air. I think Twig will eventually be building into the Divine Ruin, knowing how kind of a utility jungler he's been in the past. Wouldn't surprise me to see him get that item earlier.
Yeah, Poseidon able to do both the damage and the control by way of the whirlpool for sure. PolarBearMike grabbed up and surrounded. Khepri will be able to abduct his way out of there. Blinking forward, though, still going to harass Cherryo. Nika's here for it. With an abduct on cooldown, the blink on cooldown, PolarBearMike might tumble here. That said, Dardez has a 2-on-1 in the middle lane with fineokay not going home. Neither solo laner are in position.
Really much aggression onto Dardez. PBM can't really do anything unless he goes under the tier 1 tower. Don't expect that to be the case. But yeah, the Afro versus Xbalanque of who was going mid, who was going long lane. We were also talking about it where I would rather see Dardez playing the Xbalanque because you're able to stack up your branching bola player damage, right? And you have the dash for the escape. Whereas Aphrodite, you're basically safe after level 5 anyway. And with the lack of pressure in the long lane, you should be comfortable in getting that level 5, unless some sort of Sanford Soccer level 2 gank, Sino gank comes your way.
We'll see if CaptainTwig is on that side of the map, but not going to be the case. He'll clean up these Harpies. Again, happy to see the Poseidon jungle being brought out here. CaptainTwig piloting it. I've been a champion of this pick for a long time. We've had some fun and joking about it, but realistically, Totally, I do think this pick has a lot of potential, and clearly Rival do as well. They've won some, they've lost some with the Poseidon jungle for sure, but the ability for it to provide just the Kraken, whether it's damage or objective secure, and the control, but also still let you have your kind of carries in the mid lane. You get the best of both worlds. And I'm a big fan also when you're playing double physical, right? You want some magical presence as well.
Sure.
So a nice balance out here for Team Rival for sure.
A lot of base damage, so you don't have to build pure glass cannon from the jungle position. So knowing Twig style, he's going to prefer that actually. fineokay a little bit of trouble.
No Glad Shield just yet. This is the moment that Renegades get the kill onto the King Arthur, but they're unable to find the damage to do so.
It's small poke into the Totem of Ku. 125 gold going to go the way of Renegades to catch up there. But talking back onto Twig's Poseidon pick, it was drafted in the last 2 picks for Rival in response to the Ganesh.
Right.
Once that remove obstacles dash is being used, you stop him with a cripple completely in track. Very easy to blow up iRaffer.
Speed buff invade number 2 here from Team Rival. Here comes PolarBearMike. He will miss by just a little bit.
Very close, but now he doesn't have a dash, and Raffer's going to set up Dardez.
Cherryo grab, Raffer grab. Here's some help from CaptainTwig. Not enough. Cherryo, first blood. CaptainTwig on the run. Got some movement speed thanks to the passive. And we're just waiting for the Armillary Sash cooldown from Cherryo. There it is. Beads are chased out. And because of the relic, CaptainTwig safe and sound.
There's very rare instances where it hurts you to actually help out your teammate, and in that case, it hurt because Cherryo's ring bounces bounce off of PolarBearMike onto CaptainTwig and allowed for that very easy first blood 3 minutes in.
PandaCat now on the Medusa, not looking towards the enemy red buff. Not exactly what he wants to do by himself.
Yeah, definitely not the case. I don't really see how Arkkyl is going to find that solo kill this time around compared to the Hou-Yi versus Thoth matchup. Aphrodite much safer now that she's level 5, getting access to that invulnerability.
Speaking of that Aphrodite, power, defensive?
Probably power, if I were to guess. Maybe a little bit of hybridness with Pythax piece, but other than that, I don't see her really going E-Staff or Gem of Isolation anytime soon. Probably more power. Maybe Chronos Pendant to be just spamming those heals.
Are we expecting to see like the breastplate helmet build where Funball's job is to stay in the back and just heal and ult? Or do we expect Funball to be looking for damage? Because Aphrodite built like a traditional mage absolutely deals damage.
I agree.
Great use of the Spear of the Magus, which is ideal penetration as well. She can swing, but rarely do we see the build because of her position usually. In the carry role, does she have the world to open up is the question. No ultimate for Cherryo just yet, so PandaCat wiggles away.
To answer your question of where Funballer is going to go with this build, it's too early to call, and I don't think there's an incorrect build you can really do with Aphrodite. It just depends on what style you want to do.
Funball is going to be jumped on and easily taken care of.
No Kraken even necessary for that one.
Arkkyl led with the ultimate, brought him down low. Aphrodite with no movement abilities, even with the healing of the ultimate, winds up taking a tumble. So 1-1 so far. Nice collapse there on the healer from Team Rival. Funball unable to really answer, and so he'll be 0-1-0 so far. Has the boots, had them before his death as well, but that's it.
Yeah, with 20% CDR, not enough. Cherryo able to get out of that one with use of the purification beads. The abduct a little bit too strong for PBM. Both junglers having to use those relics. CaptainTwig thought those back camps were up for him. It was stripped away earlier. Good vision control out of Renegades. Look at that. Back camps between tier 1, tier 2. Left side mid camps between the red and the purple. They definitely don't want Twig ganking anytime soon without being aware of it.
I mean, Rival has been in the Rival has been so aggressive in the Renegades jungle. They're just thinking, what happens if you know, comes around, right? What goes around comes around. We don't want Renegades invading like Rival has been invading, is the thought process there. 500 gold in the lead is Team Rival. So a very close one in our early minutes. Nothing too out of the ordinary, just a easy kill here or there for one of the players. Arkkyl misses the Pillar Impale.
That's a big deal. Arkkyl without too much mana now can't really be that bully that he's expecting to be. With the Mage's Blessing for Funballer, he gets that MP5 if he can continue to spam. It's important for him to just soak up all the farm now with this 2-level deficit.
iRaffer shading over here alongside PolarBearMike. Cherryo will be in the wings. So if Rival or Renegades take the 2-on-2, Cherryo's ready to assist. And if not, Cherryo's just ready here to split the purple buff. I like the shade over from the jungle just in case. No violence just yet. No problem for Funballer.
Yeah, for PBM, he could be in a little bit of trouble. iRaffer actually having the purification beads, recognizing the threat of that combo.
Nice play. Cherryo, though, going to go on the offensive. CaptainTwig, no ultimate available. So PolarBearMike trying to get out of here. Ults himself. The damage from Renegades, unable to really find it. The dots after the fact sets him up. There's iRaffer, and Funball with the back off gets the kill. The Khepri ultimate actually kills him in the long run. Cherryo dancing around this Impale Pillar and will fall down into the hand of Arkkyl with the up down. Can he find the support? PandaCat shows up. Rotation from the mid lane, and Rival with the 2 for none.
A great play there, at least getting back in kind. Did lose out PBM there, so it was at least something, but better trade for Rival at the end of the day. And boy, do they need it, being down 2-1 in this best-of-5 set.
Nice tie game here. Do you think Rival go for the Aphrodite if they're on tournament point? Or do you think, or excuse me, Renegades go for the Afro if they're on tournament point? Or do you think the Aphrodite comes out because they can theoretically afford to lose one?
I think the latter. They're definitely affording to lose one. If they're on tournament point, they're probably prioritizing the likes of Anhur, Zhong, something like they're more used to dominating with.
Sure.
But in this world where it's Rival getting the Anhur, picking up the Khepri themselves, forcing Renegades to expand their playbook, which they're very comfortable in doing so, by the way, that leads Renegades to try to throw a curveball at Rival, and this early pressure is a little too much, it feels. Even though PBM essentially did nothing at level 1 from the speed buff invade to the red buff invade, the damage from these 2 hunters in mid and long lane is just winning the pushing battle against Renegades.
I also like Team Rival's approach to this. You know, I got a chance to sit down and talk to some of the pros before, and the big difference between this season and seasons past, as Arkkyl blows the ultimate, is you can't just be good at SMITE any longer. With the advent of team houses and players at LAN, these games seem more important. Another whip cracking from CaptainTwig, and so coaches have dialed in. There's just more going on. PolarBearMike to the sky and met on the bottom with the Ganesh walls. Cherryo with the last hit off of the support from iRaffer. And so we're seeing more intricate gameplay these days. You got to play against your opponent specifically. And Team Rival are doing that with the Anhur and the Khepri strippage 100%.
Yeah, you definitely have to do your homework there. And PBM, he had his ultimate, but I guess he thought he would have died anyway if he used it, so he's saving it. Arkkyl, no beads, but no ultimate out of Cherryo.
Cherryo's going to be in trouble. He might even die here. One more shot, and Arkkyl finds it through traffic. But Renegades are able to confirm the gold Fury. Trading the jungler for the gold.
Definitely worth it there. Renegades trying to still stay alive a little bit longer, as Funballer wasn't able to kiss out his jungler to heal Cherryo. He was still linked to Dardez.
Funballer building into some defensive options here. PolarBearMike threatens. Doesn't push. Big wave here for PandaCat. Get some pot shots against the tower. Bring it down to about half, but unlikely for it to fall. Nobody else playing backup, so Renegades just kill out the minions. and allow Rival to kind of walk away no problem.
This is Rival getting a little bit too antsy, it feels like, where they look for the kill yet again onto iRaffer. You know, the combo makes sense. Abduct, Whirlpool Kraken, get the Petrify off, but for whatever reason, iRaffer survives it. He just narrowly is able to remove obstacles after the Abduct to avoid both of those high damaging mage/hunter abilities. And with that one pick, that's all it takes for Renegades to confirm an objective this early on. They just punish Rival every time they look to play aggressive.
Very quickly looking for the stuff after the stuff, not content with just the kill, but needing the objective play as well. That said, Team Rival still generally tied up here with Renegades as we pass our 10-minute mark.
And it's also other factors besides the kill, right? Like Arkkyl using that weird Desert Fury around purple buff means there's less steal potential or less danger on that objective.
I think that was the key.
That definitely feels like more of the reasoning than just to pick onto PBM.
Completely agree. As soon as I saw the ultimate come out, it was an attempt to steal the purple buff. And in a vacuum, that's actually not that poor of a play. But it just immediately with the kill.
Yeah.
That was just a little bit, maybe the window was just a little too short with just one of them. With both of those variables open, Renegades are able to kind of look for it. And I've mentioned on broadcast a number of times, the higher you go up in the skill level of these teams, the smaller windows of opportunity get that needs to be converted on or made use of. You give Renegades and Rival an inch, they'll take it 2 miles, not just one. And that's really the key when you're looking at number 1 and 2 teams, in my opinion. Forget the standings. These are the 2 best teams in the league for my money.
Yeah, Arkkyl definitely wanting to stretch that lead even further than beyond the 2-mile mark with 3-0-1. He's part of every single kill from Rival, which is rare to see from that hunter position. But it's an important way to play the Anhur, because not to say that he falls off in the mid to late game, he's not going to be as useful, though, as, let's say, the Xbalanque that has immense amount of burst damage with the branching bolas, with that passive that comes online from the 330 physical power. He's going to be relying on that early game passive of the Anhur, the Enfeeble, to reduce the protections by 20 before there's any physical protections that Funballer can speak of.
And also just by nature of the kit being ability-based and largely rooted in that mid-game, you want to make use of that mid-game. You know, if that's what you're strong at, you don't want to wait till the end of the game just because you have all these levels. You want to exercise where you are strongest. And right now is kind of that moment.
Yes.
I'd like to see the Anhur make moves.
Especially with this power spike of the Toxic Blade. It's clear that Arkkyl is not planning on rotating anytime soon. He heavily wants to focus out Funballer and look for another kill, because one sometimes is never enough on an Aphrodite. It's got to be 2, 3, 4 times to really shut her down, prevent her from getting to that level 17 marker.
Our duo in the mid lane. Very funny. A hunter and a support now in the mid lane.
Yeah.
What year is it?
It's 2019.
What a change, man.
Season 6.
Team Rival linking up.
Oh, the miss.
PolarBearMike off the mark. Cherryo finds one, though. He gets beads out of Arkkyl. Slight reset. Ring toss will slow everybody down, and that's good enough for iRaffer to drop the box. And it's all about the red buff secure. Renegades deny Rival the opportunity of the invade. They don't get a kill, but the stop is good enough in my eyes. Rival are at the point where they're able to kind of tumble salt through these enemy jungle camps, and stopping, that's a big deal. 2
relics being used from Rival, only 1 from Renegades, but then a very impactful team fighting ultimate. Nika actually a little bit of trouble up against fineokay, but will have to expend that ultimate for safety.
I honestly think that's better for Rival than Renegades. And obviously, because they got the ultimate out of Nika, but I think it's better that Nika runs away. If Nika sticks his landing and fights there,
like 1v3 with the Lord of the Afterlife passive,
I think Renegades are able to make the rotation and beat up Rival for that play.
Possibly.
So because Nika goes for the escape, I think it actually helps out Team Rival by not baiting them into a bad fight.
Possible, but then again, keep in mind iRaffer doesn't have the Dharmic Pillars after he used it defending that red buff, and that's a huge AoE control of obstacles, whereas PBM still has the Scarab's Blessing, so someone from Rival can just go ham knowing they have a second life.
Kraken also available for CaptainTwig.
Uh-oh. Flank. Cherryo can catch out Twig, force the relic.
Nice win for Cherryo. Very good usage of the Naja in this game and ones prior to just to just strip beats.
I'm surprised. When you're flanking people, you got to be the most optimal. Hold that thought, though. 1v1 left lane.
Funball finds the back off. The ultimate will negate a lot of what Arkkyl wants to do. Nice dodging, saves it. Can't find the impale. Under the tower, ages one more. Funball finds the stun. Doesn't have the fire damage. And iRaffer shows up. PolarBearMike shows up as well. If Funball has a bird's cooldown, he might even win that 1v1.
Yeah.
Excellent juke boots and usage of the relics to get away from Arkyl's power.
Now, to be fair, the Aegis was late. It was after the Impale was used anyway, so if that Impale connects, he's stunned on the wall. One more basic would have done it. That Toxic Blade was really limiting some of the healing.
Cherryo surrounded by 3, taken care of. No ultimates used. Nice job there from Team Rival. Cherryo out of position, needs to be punished.
Surprised he just didn't ulti away defensively. He's really holding on to it for a little bit too long there. And I was also surprised when he was flanking CaptainTwig that he didn't just go for the straight up ultimate. When you're flanking targets that don't know you're there, you gotta use your big guns sometimes.
Oni Fury started by Team Rival. Renegades are here, but they won't be able to steal it. Kraken early, doesn't matter, still goes the direction of the assaulting team. PandaCat dashes forward, can't grab iRaffer. The ultimate will slow him down, but beads are one better. So Renegades do watch as Rival take the Gold Fury. Answering back, not in position to, are the Renegades. And so Rival just get a clean Gold Fury. 2,000 gold up is the blue team.
You would think they would be up more, though, at this point, right? It just feels that Rival are making more plays, that they're really being aggressive. Arkkyl in the left side of the lane. Nika forced to ulti away defensively on the right side. So there's definitely more pressure onto Renegades after they secure this Oni Fury. Not really that big of a deal for the wave clear this early on. Only one big Gladiator minion, but it's up to Renegades to kind of stop the bleeding now, because I think the late game is good for Renegades with the Aphrodite, with the Xbalanque, but if you're going to lose, let's say, the next Primal Fury, a Pyromancer, a couple of towers, Rival might run away with this one.
That's the thing. I'm 100% there with you. I look at Team Rival and I don't see the world's most latest game composition. Their jungle mage is not a Hebo. It's a Poseidon. Yeah. PandaCat and Arkkyl are mid-game monsters. Team Rival want to win this game between 20 and 35 minutes. If this goes further than 30 by too long, Renegades, like you said, Dardez, Funball, even Cherryo, late game Najat is scary and will two-shot Poseidon with basic attacks. And so with that in mind, Renegades kind of want to stretch this out. They realize that Rival might get a little bit of a lead, but 25-3,000 is the lead. Can't see you go 5,000, 6,000 up.
iRaffer gonna get knocked up, trying to get away, gets off the pillars just in time, but his teammate's not there to capitalize.
Rival, however, absolutely is. There's the dash away from Cherryo defensively, helped out by Funball through the wall.
Also, you having to use that Aphrodite ultimate. Nothing Nika can really do to save the tier 1 tower except look for poke on the back end. I don't think Rival are interested in anything after this, using the Whirlpool to zone away. Arkkyl gonna jump away. fineokay will continue to farm the right side, and Rival get a pick, get a tower, walk away cleanly.
1840 on the clock here, Anatoly. We've got 9 kills, Team Rival with 2/3 of them. They've wrestled control of this set from the beginning of game number 3. Renegades have been able to fight back a little bit more defensively this time around. Rival's still in the driver's seat, and PolarBearMike bringing it home. Dardez's beads get chased out. Funball rooted. His beads get chased out as well. And that's a no wow for me too.
Yeah, that's impressive to see from Rival. These small little victories, because their initial pick onto iRaffer, his beats just now coming off of cooldown. It was down for about 30 seconds or so in that last pick. So that's where Rival's mentality was, is this Guardian is vulnerable. In fact, his mentality now, iRaffer, is like, you know what? I can't be caught out without my beats, so I pick up the Mad Guy's cloak.
Pings coming out of the left side tower. Renegades have a minion wave that'll be able to do some damage there to the tier 1. Unlikely to take it, but certainly will provide some chip away.
That fun little interaction in mid, like PBM's chasing iRaffer just to proc the Mad Guy's cloak, and iRaffer's dashing away so he keeps it. It's a 70-second internal cooldown, so it makes sense to use your mana to keep it up.
Once upon a time, it was 30.
It was very low. Like, yeah, it was like 30 or 45. I think 45.
That's so rough.
It was good. It was really good.
Yeah, that's what we'll say. Nice little dodge away there from iRaffer.
He's like playing a little game, just avoiding all the abilities.
Cherryo can't avoid that. The blink on top of the jungler. Beads or not, he goes down. No options there from Cherryo. His beads were on cooldown, as was his sprint,
Huh.
by the way. No option there for the Renegade jungler.
That obelisk is very slow, so I do understand the pickup.
Nika's here, grabbed up. Kraken used on the player, not the objective. And Renegades are going to use that as an invitation to fight. Nika in trouble on the left side as Funball gets picked up by fineokay, excuse me, on the right.
Still gonna dive a little bit deeper now. Funballer forced to use the Aegis, trying to get away from this whirlpool. Dive in the tier 2 tower is Rival.
And there's the heal, but it's not good enough. Arkkyl cuts one, and there's number 2. fineokay the culprit. Team Rival grabbing control. Dardez on the split push. Is this the right call?
It is, and I absolutely love it. I'm all here for it. Level 17 Xbalanque with the red buff. He sees Poseidon going down the middle lane, can't continue the pressure, will at least strip away the red buff, and could look for the second wave, or without lifesteal, it might be a little tricky to go for this Primal Fury, but he could split push on the left.
Yeah, can't get the Primal Fury with 0 lifesteal. With an Aussie, it might be close with Devo's there. Dardez committed to the split push. Cherryo's here, looking for the stun. Gets it. Renegades get the Fire Giant. Cherryo taken out of Rival's hands. And the pillar's not good enough. Nika and Cherryo might even get out of here. CaptainTwig drops down underneath the tier 2 tower. PolarBearMike charging forward. Renegades are going to lose the tower, but they gain the objective, Anatoly.
How does that happen? I think Cherryo actually walked up to the like after the ring bounces were done.
Yes.
He walks up to the
Yes.
Fire Giant and smacks it for the last hit. That's got to be like a top 10 Fire Giant steal.
Beautiful play there. He knew it from sun up to sundown. Team Rival now hoping for a sunset in their own fashion, but it's Renegades turning the lights on. Nika chasing down CaptainTwig and PolarBearMike and Arkkyl on the right-hand side. Dardez, on the other hand, knocking on heaven's door as the Phoenix is the only one there left. PandaCat runs away under the tier 2, and fineokay trying to get the back
Stopping
off.
the back.
Beautiful play by Nika to stop the back. The Phoenix on the left goes down. Renegades take the Fire Giant and get a cheeky Phoenix, and they're only 2,000 gold down.
My God.
Totally. Can I call this a tie?
You could basically call this a tie. All the attention from Rival now must be committed on the left-hand side. Renegades flipping this game right on top of its head. Impressive stuff from Cherryo, more impressive from Nika to continue canceling all these backs. Everything had to align perfectly for Renegades to get back in this game.
This was guerrilla warfare by definition. And more importantly, perhaps, this is a confidence play.
Oh, yeah.
Renegades go into that going, Dardez, we can win a 4 versus 5. Cherryo, you can steal that by yourself. Nika, you can protect Cherryo on the way out. We have faith. And that's exactly what happened. If Renegades shot callers and team don't all buy into the fact that they can win that fight down a man, that they can individually steal that Fire Giant, it's a completely different scenario. Renegades, with all the confidence in themselves, absolutely make that play and turn this game around. Like I said, we're tied up here at 24. Renegades have 3 kills, and all 3 of them matter, Toli. They're back in it.
They definitely are. Cherryo, whenever you go for like an objective steal like Fire Giant, your number 1 goal is not necessarily to steal the objective. You're like, all right, I'm just going to show up and kind of see what happens. And that's what he did. He ring bounced. He got the beads, I think, out of CaptainTwig. And then once he realized the bounces weren't enough, he's like, you know what? What if I just walked up here and yoinked it? And he totally did. Now Rival trying to defend under their own tier 2 tower. They're going to blink, use their frenzy, forcing Renegades outside their tier 2. But this is the strength of Funballer on the Aphrodite, the out-of-combat healing.
That's really what you're looking for. Again, mentioning the SK Gaming game, the only one that they won yesterday, Olorun's out-of-combat healing was so important. You might have all the anti-heal in the world, but when I back all the way up, wait for my debuffs to go away, and heal up, we can re-engage. Y'all got to go back to the fountain. Renegades leaning on that heavy. take the tier 2. Only tower remaining in that middle lane. Just to go back to the Cherryo steal, I mean, Flaming Spear going to give you an 8 critical strike on the basic attack. CaptainTwig going to eat 3 of those critical strikes. Nice save by PBM, but Renegades are here on the tower. Cherryo low, dies to Arkkyl through the wall. Funball gets him with a dot. Pushing forward is the rest of Renegades. Dardez focused on the tower itself. The objective goes down. Nika's low, will back to base. Might have the teleport to rejoin, and he does. So we'll see a re-life, an extra life here for the Osiris player. Pivotal in Renegades' earlier matches.
Absolutely agree with you there. Silencing out fineokay. Nika looking for some poke onto PandaCat on the left side. Dardez is really chunking at this Phoenix, but the Fire Giant buff has been stripped away now. No longer there for Renegades to use, but they're going to try to go with this right side wave.
fineokay's here, 60% HP, 4 on 4. As Arkkyl and Cherryo are both in the box. Renegades slowed down a little bit by PolarBearMike's crowd control, and Dardez eating a lot of the shots. No damage on the right side. Phoenix, team rival, with some good defense.
The left side Phoenix now respawning. Unfortunate for Renegades that they couldn't continue that push with that respawn, but they got what they really wanted. They could maybe exploit the positioning of PandaCat to go for the Fire Giant respawn.
Absolutely. Fire Giants respawning right about.
You got this?
Now.
There we go.
What's up, Fire Giant? Renegades will back to base before coming back and attempting it. Okay. I think with the threat of CaptainTwig, that's a fine call.
That was a good play coming through from Cherryo onto Twig. His beads were down for about 2 or 3 seconds when I saw him in the sky, as that was so important for PBM to catch him as he lands. Kind of like the fire department, you know, with the big trampoline. Can we call it the big fire department trampoline from now on?
No.
Please?
You know what, Tolly? If in the middle of a team fight you want to say, and he gets him with the fire department big trampoline, you can do that. For right now, I'll call it the blessing. I'll call it the Khepri ult.
It's a big old trampoline.
Well, Renegades have certainly jumped on one. Bounce House or Sky Zone. They've now taken the lead. Completely turned things around. 4,000 gold, Team Rival Senior. 28 minutes in, we're watching the Fire Giant dance. Team Rival not having control of the Fire Giant Cove. Renegades have been able to step up. And again, most important person on the map likely to be the Assassin. Cherryo in the middle lane looking for someone squishy. fineokay not in.
Gonna stun out fineokay. Not gonna use that ultimate quite yet. All of Renegades looking for the collapse though, forcing in the beats.
There's one ult for another, and the turnaround from Rival is ready and waiting. fineokay dashing into the entirety of the
1v5.
team. Formerly a good idea. With the Scarab's Blessing has some movement speed, but he's cut down and survives just barely. Renegades though have done the damage and are now on the offensive. Great pillar to slow things down. Shoutouts to Arkkyl. And Renegades will turn on a dime and look for the Fire Giant one more time.
But that poke is all they needed to, honestly, to be able to secure this objective. CaptainTwig, no Kraken to really contest.
I think it'll take one more kind of skirmish in order for Renegades to open the door for Fire completely.
Oh, Arkkyl, a very important stun onto iRaffer because iRaffer wanted to get that knock-up once fineokay teleports in.
More time, iRaffer going to be linked up here with Funball. Cherryo again looking for the flank, and no ward vision on the right-hand side. Rival start things up. Cherryo turns around, decides against the flank, and Nika is the one caught out. Nika, though, he's tanky and totally okay.
Arkkyl in a little bit of trouble, forced to jump away. A nice abduct onto Cherryo by PBM, still resetting his Renegades. Now it's time for Nika to come back in with his own teleport and use Funballer's healing. Keep in mind, this left side wave is building in favor of Renegades, and that is a weakened Phoenix.
That's going to be a big wave there on the left side for sure. Yeah, look at this one. Was that 2 waves worth of archers? Maybe
3.
3 waves worth of archers?
Yeah, somebody's going to have to defend that very soon from Rival. Otherwise, that's a dead
Gondor,
Phoenix.
You know? You can call them the archers.
Sure.
Thanks, man.
I got you.
Thanks, man.
I didn't get the Top Gun reference earlier, but I definitely understood that one.
That's just because you played BFME.
No, actually I didn't.
An RTS that totally didn't play?
Nope, not that one, unfortunately.
I don't believe it. CaptainTwig will be the one on defense duty. Renegades start the Fire Giant. Enhanced, by the way. So a tall task for sure. Half HP on the objective. PolarBearMike by himself, and Renegades looking for the team fight. fineokay healthy, Cherryo not so much. He's going to be caught up, stunned out, and likely killed on the right side, but Arkkyl dies first. Nika chasing out the carry and the jungler. Can't find the target, though. And Cherryo winds up surviving. Big plays there from the Renegades jungler. Renegades being 5 men strong, albeit 2 in the yellow. But they do have that healer.
Can fineokay be the same hero that Cherryo was for Renegades, trying to get in position? Doesn't have vision, so they don't even know the actual health. But once you see that ring, that you know it's getting incredibly low.
fineokay still on the outside looking in, 25%. This is how Renegades stole it the last time. Can Rival take it away? Fino's here. There's a little bit of dot damage as well, but it's all Renegades, and Fino gets put down. CaptainTwig in trouble as he's surrounded. We'll get a brief reprieve thanks to PolarBearMike, but the entirety of the Renegades are on the chase. Funballer and Dardez find the shots. Lucky number 7. And Renegades 7,000 in the lead. 7 kills to their name. And all ready to set sail like the 7 seas.
It just goes to show it doesn't matter if you have the kill lead, because Renegades have all the objectives that they want, getting 2 Fire Giants to the 0 from Rival. They're now in position to win this game and close out this best-of-5 set. It was important to figure out for Rival of how to stop Renegades in their track, but with CaptainTwig on the left-hand side, because of that Archer disparity, it was a lopsided team fight, and he got there a little bit too late.
Left side bird's gonna fall down for the 2nd time this game, and Renegades are not aiming for anything but the Titan. All in, the box is down, Nika with the front flip. There goes the battle.
Wow.
Renegades take game 4 and take the whole damn set.
Shoutouts to Cherryo on the steal. Shoutouts to Nika on canceling the back. Shoutouts to shot calling from Renegades. They trump Rival that in phase 1 decimated them. They lost that set 3-0, but still continuing their undefeated streak since MSI.
Love to see that reaction in the player booth as well. Renegades are a team that come out, have fun, and they certainly had fun this time around, but this was, you saw them hugging out. This was a big one for sure. They're going to say what up to Rival. As I said, standings, be damned. These are the 2 best teams in the league right now. They recognize it, they respect each other, and they're ready to take the battlefield. But again, Renegades wrestling and control that one. That was Rival's game for the majority of it.
Oh, they definitely should have won that one to go to a game 5. What a storyline that would have been to see it.
Either way, fun stuff coming out from the Renegades friends. As we said, really just a beautiful play. We're going to reflect in just a moment, but for now, here's this.
The SMITE Pro League is brought to you by Titan Forge Games, the developers of SMITE. One and in to an awesome set between two top teams here in the SPL. This one slips away from Rival in an instant around that Fire Giant. Shoutouts to Cherryo, my man, getting the job done. I got Ryan Agro-Bailey here to help me break down everything else that happened here in that set. Do you agree? Is it that simple, man, that's where they lost that game?
Yes, because they were at a great trajectory to win the game pretty easily before that happened. But after that, they had plenty of chances. It's not like the game
was basically
instantly
even, right?
over. Right,
Yeah.
That just evens the game. It put Renegades at a slight advantage because that was a 4v5 fight where Dardez had been pushing the entire time. He got a Phoenix for that.
Huge.
That put Renegades in control, but then Rival was able to bring it back to parity, and then Renegades just outright won the game after the fact.
Yeah, I mean, there was so much to look at in that fight. PolarBearMike isn't quite able to hold on to Cherryo with the Abduct as he's coming in to look for that steal. They don't have the Kraken secure there either to make sure that they're the ones that are getting the Fire Giant, so it's Renegades that grab it. There's a bunch of stuff that goes wrong on that actual play. But like you said, that still wasn't the end of the game. I think Rival still had plenty of chance to fight back in on what was essentially even footing, maybe a little bit behind.
I mean, they did a great job of doing everything you're supposed to do, which is kill the Afro early. I mean, Arkkyl gets some help here from CaptainTwig, and I'm not really even sure he needed it. Arkkyl was huge in this game, both in the fact of his impact and in the amount of farm that he had. This kill on to Cherryo was just nasty. Didn't miss a single auto with Cherryo on the way out. I mean, Renegade still got that Gold Fury. If he would have just turned and casually autoed down the Gold Fury as well, that would have been something else.
Yeah.
But here's the play you were talking about, man. I mean, this is Cherryo just being a playmaker. I mean, he gets in here, he gets the beads out from PandaCat and walks in and just autos it away.
Yeah, Twig's here, man. I'm convinced that the Poseidon is there for the confirm, but the title surge looks like it is a little bit late either, even if that's what they're considering to confirm in that situation. Because Twig's on the Poseidon, I do think that responsibility falls to him there.
Absolutely. It definitely does. Title surge is the best secure available to you if you don't have Kraken. So if you do have Kraken, then that's the best available secure for you.
Well,
that Kraken was off the mark. I mean, Twig's Poseidon jungle was not inspiring to me this time around. And yes, you know, the meme, oh, I hate Poseidon jungle, all this kind of stuff. That Poseidon play just wasn't good enough in that game. And that's tough because you have so much responsibility on your shoulders, especially with the Aphrodite on the other team. Your job is that much harder.
Yep.
And in the instances where you need to execute perfectly, it just didn't happen.
And you saw how thin those margins were, too. It wasn't just that they lost the FG on that, but you mentioned Xbalanque was able to get down there and take that Phoenix on the left-hand side. That tilted the scales even further out of control there for Team Rival. And that was really off the back of Rival trying to take the fight after they lost the FG. It looked like a little bit of maybe like we got to get something here, and they couldn't quite find that, and the whole game gets away from them.
I mean, they were just a little bit slow to back it up after that Fire Giant steal, and then Cherryo finds the reinitiation with fineokay still kind of hanging around the backside fire. Then the rest of the boys come in and help him out on both sides, and it ends up resulting in a Renegades 1 team fight and a Phoenix and a Fire Giant all in their favor when they were down by quite a bit before that.
Renegades, again, find some kind of way to turn things around and find that win. I think at this point they are now unquestionably the top team. Maybe you could have said since they hadn't fought Rival, there was something to be said, well, no longer to worry about that. But you don't have to hear about from me any longer. The actual players themselves for Renegades are standing by now for the interview.
Thanks a lot, John Finch. Standing here with the victors today, Nika and Cherryo. Just like yesterday, kind of comfortable here. Might have to start putting nameplates on the seats. But again, congratulations. This time versus Rival. I've repeatedly called you guys kind of, standings be damned, the number 1 and the number 2 teams. What is it like going up against a Titan like Rival?
I think it's the game that we've had to prepare the most for in terms of we scrimmed them a lot and we knew they would look for invades and like janky plays and stuff, but we still weren't 100% sure how to deal with it. So I think the hardest thing was adapting as the set went on. I think we did a great job of that going throughout the whole set.
Cherryo, what's your morning routine like to be able to mentally get into this set, know that PBM is going to follow you across the map, and then still be able to steal away that objective in Game 4?
I was kind of sad. I just woke up, I just have a good breakfast. After breakfast, I'm about to take a shower and I see the PBM tweet. I don't really know why, man. What did I do to deserve this? It's kind of hard, knowing that I'm not gonna have fun the first five minutes. But I guess I'm always behind anyways. I'm always feeding. So maybe they should have tried to focus Dardez more because he's the real carry. But I'll take it, I guess. And the FG is it's just one of those when I'm going for it, I'm pretty sure I'm getting it. I don't know how with an auto attack. It's it's just see at 1K and I'm going in. I'm getting this, and we got it. We got a Phoenix. We definitely got lucky this game.
Yeah.
We did miss some misplays, but we got lucky with the win.
I was talking about that play specifically. Dardez is off split pushing a Phoenix. You two go in, but just you two. I called it an absolute confidence play. It was just your team trusting each other, which I think is a big part of it. Open-ended question. Talk to me about the culture on the team and what it's like to trust each other.
I don't know. I don't think I've been on a team that trusts everyone as much as this team. Like, Funballer just picked Afro. Like, we were all like, sure, man. If you're down, just pick it. Like, we can play around it. And like, it's just it's so good for everyone. Like, everyone's confident in themselves. Like, if anyone makes a mistake, we don't like jump on that guy. Like, we just keep going, and we know that we can still win any game, like regardless of how it goes.
Yeah.
Did that third game really like get you guys under? Like, what did Rival do that put a thorn on your side?
It was just Mike, right? Like,
yeah, Mike, like he took the fun to the next level. You know, like he was like, "Oh, you had a bit of fun. Like we're gonna stop that." He sunders me level 1 and he's poking me out, and then Nika loses blue on Arthur, and it was a really hard game to come back.
Last question for you, Nika. Your solo lane play has been spectacular and a big part of Renegades' success. I made a big point about the Osiris play. You seem to approach the Osiris a little bit differently than just sort of like a pseudo-assassin. What do you think when you're jumping in there as Osiris?
I mean, I actually randomly picked it. Like, I hate the god. I actually always said he's bad. Like, I'm never going to play him. And I don't know why. I was just like, if they're going to invade, like, we might as well play Osiris. Like, it makes it way harder for them to pressure. So it's kind of like just picking it for the team more than anything.
Seems to be your MO, working out for the team and the team working out for you. You guys take it. Congratulations. We'll get on to match number 2 in just a bit.